Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. Hopefully your appetite has been whetted by the wonderful stuff that's gone on at the Home Story Cup earlier. Also, we got to see a rare treat indeed, a best-of-3 show match between Bbyong and Stork in Brood War. But now, you get an even rarer treat. A treat that up until today has never existed on this earth. My name is TotalBiscuit, and of course I'm joined by really the only guy who could ever possibly cast something like that with me.
Thank you, TotalBiscuit. I am just way too happy to be here this morning once again. This has been a fantastic tournament so far, especially day one. If you're just tuning in out the semifinals, make sure you watch the first day's group. It was out of control. If there's one group that you watch this month, watch that one.
Yeah, you absolutely should. And all the VODs are already up. We've actually even got 3 out of 5 of the Korean VODs. If for some reason you're Korean tuned in and can understand what I'm saying, one, why are you here? Go to twitch.tv/crank, listen to the Korean cast. But secondly, we did manage to get some of the Korean VODs up. Unfortunately, there were a few problems. They actually did have an issue or two with some of their VODs, so we did lose a couple of those, which kind of sucks. But the VODs from day 1 and 2 are up, and they're, of course, spoiler-free. So if you didn't want to know how we got to this point, then you can still watch it. But really, if you've got to day 3, we're gonna have to kind of spoil it for you. Because honestly, there's only 4 of the 8 original contestants left. And it's best of 7s from here on in as well.
Best of 7s, man. This is not one of those casual tournaments that you get to see all the time. No, this is for reals. Best of 7, you're going to get the best player coming out almost every single time in a best of 7.
That you are. And it's actually a rare format for quite a few of these players. I was wondering whether Flash had ever played a best of 7 TVT. And of course, I knew he'd played a couple of best of 7s in Starcraft 2 because he went to MLG and got really far, where of course their finals are kind of best of 7. So that happened. But what I discovered is that he has never played a televised best of 7 in either Brood War or Starcraft 2 in TVT, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I can definitely say that he hasn't played it in Brood War since all the league finals generally were best of 5.
Right? Yeah.
And then in Starcraft 2, of course, he just hasn't done really well enough to do a best of 7, right? So this is some new, fresh ground, and a matchup that we don't even get to see top Koreans play hardly at all right now, which is TVT itself. It's going to be pretty epic.
Yeah, I think it will be. And he hasn't even played all that many TVT series in StarCraft 2. TVT's become a little bit of a rare thing outside of Pro League lately, unfortunately. And we don't really see Flash outside of Pro League that much anyway, so TVT a bit rare, Flash playing it even rarer still, Flash playing best of 7 TVT, so rare it has never happened. And it will happen tonight.
Well, that is rarer than the dinosaurs at this point. Jurassic Park taking place here on twitch.tv/TotalBiscuit. Tell your friends, it's going to be absolute madness. And, you know, in Korea, this is the second GSL Coda season in a row with no TVT. So I don't even really remember what the matchup looks like aside from a few Pro League matches, man. In a best of 7, how do you even plan for that right now?
Yeah, it's really strange considering there has been a change to Terran, as we are well aware, with the Armory Hellbat change. And I wonder if that will factor in. In early Heart of the Swarm, Hellbats were a big deal. In fact, TVT, many were complaining that TVT was dead because it had been replaced with Hellbats and Hellbats. And that beautiful chess game, things like, I remember Flash versus Bbyong, which was an absolutely phenomenal game, and many other great TVTs, actually. Most of them involving Bbyong, funnily enough, in Wings of Liberty. And then, of course, we got about 2 months of Hellbat drops, and it was maybe the worst thing of all time. But now we've got the TVT back. We just don't get to see it that often.
That's right. I don't know what it's going to look like because, like you, I remember when Hellbats were the thing. You know, I remember just a bunch of, like, Innovation and Bomber are the two that pop out in my mind, just dropping, like, 4 medevacs full of Hellbats onto each other. It was completely crazy. Will we see that here? Well, the Hellbat is still not as good as it was back then, but it is a possibility. You know, these guys do mix and mech from time to time. And if you open up Hellbats, it's going to transition nicely into that. So, who knows?
Yeah, I hope it ends up being really, really awesome, frankly. And I think with players of this caliber it will be. We should probably first kind of look at their head-to-head when it comes to Flash versus Bbyong, because they have clashed a couple of times before.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, they just played in Pro League like the other day. I want to say on Sunday this week. I remember watching it. It was on Outboxer, actually. And Bbyong actually kind of smashed Flash. He put on some early aggression with some Reapers and Hellions and managed to kill enough SCVs that Flash just really didn't have a way to come back there. So recently, Bbyong outperforming Flash in the matchup at least.
Indeed. Historically, and of course this goes back quite a way, in StarCraft 2, the current record is 3 sets to 1 in favor of... Actually, sorry, 3 maps to 1 in favor of Flash. It's 2 sets to 1. The only best of 3 that they played was in WCS 2013 Season 2 in Premier League, and it was 2-0 for Flash there.
Okay. Well, you know, back then, Bbyong hadn't come into his full form. He's definitely a much better player now. And, of course, Flash is better, too. But Bbyong is the one that's really come miles and miles since then. So, you know, between these two, who is supposed to win this? In a best of 7, it's... I've been hemming and hawing in my own head, TotalBiscuit. What do you think? Who takes this?
It's really, really hard to call, honestly, because both of these guys at the moment are kind of Pro League heroes. And that means that they don't get the chance to play best of 7s outside of those very rare circumstances where maybe in the playoffs they end up in a situation where they're all killing or close to all killing, right? So otherwise, they're just preparing for 1 map a week at most. So
yeah,
I still have to kind of give the edge to Flash just a little bit, just purely on the experience standpoint. Like, it's not like we haven't seen him play best of 7s before, and even when he was way worse than he is now, when he was kind of first starting off in StarCraft 2, when his skill level wasn't anywhere near as close as it was, he was still putting out great long series, because he was just breaking out so many different builds, he was comfortable with experimentation, and his decision-making was there, as of course was his control, and that's evolved over time. Bbyong is still playing some incredible stuff, but again, is very focused on Pro League. I think it's going to be quite close. If it ends up being a 4-0 in either direction, 1, I'll be very disappointed, and 2, I'll be extremely surprised.
I don't think it can be a 4-0, really. TVT for these guys, I assure you, is the matchup they practice the least right now. It's just something you don't run into as much. You know, it's really just a few Pro League maps. So I think it's going to be hard for either player to completely have the other one out-prepared, and I think that their skill levels are actually just too close to have it be something like a 4-0. I think this matchup is really going to run the full gamut. We're going to see all sorts of strats. We're going to see mechs, rushes, a regular bio tank play, Hellbat drops probably mixed in there at some point. You know, 7 games is a lot of games, and there should be some variety in here.
Yeah, and that also means that the veto process, of course, takes a little bit longer. So I'm going to explain how vetoes actually work in Shoutcraft for Best of 7 here. We changed our format around just a little bit, and that was at the behest of the pros. We consulted many Korean pros and, of course, our own guys as to the preferred format, because we said, look, we want to do Best of 7. How is it best done? And the consensus was they think there's really about 7 decent maps in the map pool right now. Funnily enough, Altazim came up as one that wasn't, so that was removed. So we
no
said, all right.
surprise there.
No. But they still wanted to have a veto, because they believe that if a series goes on long enough, it can kind of peter out towards the end, simply because there are still maps in the pool that are very good for certain races. Now, that's not going to matter today, because it's all mirrors today, but it does, of course, matter in the finals and the bronze match, where there's a lot of money on the line. So what we did was we said, okay, we're going to allow for 1 veto per player, and that is going to leave you with a 5-map pool. And once we have that 5-map pool, we will pick the order in which that 5-map pool goes. So a coin flip will designate player A and player B. In this case, the coin flip has been done. Flash is player A and Bbyong is player B. So Flash gets to veto first, and Bbyong gets to veto second. At that point, Flash will then pick the first map. Bbyong will follow, and it will keep going until we run out of maps in that 5-map pool. Now you might be asking, what the hell happens after that? Because you run out of maps, right? Well, we decided what we'll do is we'll take that 5-map pool. So the maps that are vetoed out for the entire series, the whole best of 7. And we'll refresh it, and we will do new picks. And it will be A-B once again. So we will get a new map from that 5-map pool, which will be something we've already seen in the series, and then we'll get the other one. And they will both be picked at that moment. So there'll be a break to allow that to actually happen.
Well, I think we probably will get that far, so it should be pretty exciting. They are actually doing the vetoes right now, and just to show kind of the mindset of these guys, it looks like Flash has vetoed Habitation Station, and Bbyong has vetoed King Sejong Station. So wasn't expecting the Sejong Station to be taken out like that, but all right, we'll see what that means for him.
Yeah, it is interesting. Of course, Sejong Station is a map that is fairly new to the pool. Maybe it's something that, in combination with the rarity of TBT, that maybe they're just not comfortable having in that pool. We're seeing a lot of great games on it, but when was the last TBT you got to see on King Sejong?
Oh, God. I have no idea, and I guess it would be kind of a brutal map. You look at how the natural minerals are, you're going to get a lot of harassment in there. There's a lot of surface area to get in that main base with medevacs and banshees.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good veto, and with flashing out Habitation Station, he doesn't want to play some crazy, cheesy game, so these guys are really trying to set this up as best they can for themselves.
Yeah, and it does take a little longer as a result. There's some discussion going on in the chat at the moment, just making sure that they understand absolutely everything. I think Crank is re-explaining the system to them here. Of course, this was all given out, let's see, 3 weeks in advance, I believe. But these guys have just got up, and they're maybe a little bit groggy, so it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Don't blame them in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, it looks like our map order is going to be something like Outboxer, Frost, Waste Station, Merry-Go-Round. So that's our first 4 maps, and then of course, as you said, we're gonna, once we get through the first several maps, we go ahead and re-choose there at the end.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm glad that we get to see a game on Waste Station. I wonder if that's far spots how a TBT there shapes
Oh my God!
How could you ever kill somebody who has siege tanks in those long spots like that?
Oh, if they get the island base spawns, even if they don't, they'll probably try and get them anyway at some point. That's going to end up being hilarious. I can't wait to see what ends up happening. We could get a crazy super late game situation. And honestly, we have no idea how long this cast is going to go on tonight. This could, in theory, go on for a very long time, or it could be over very quickly. We don't know. Best of 7 is extremely unpredictable.
Yeah, it could be anywhere from 8 to 14 games, I guess. So it's pretty wild. It's a big range to fill in, but I think it'll be like a normal length night. I think the TBT series will be pretty long, and then of course in PvP, you're always going to have in a best of 7 like at least 2 games that are really fast cheeses, just because you have to vary your build so much in that matchup.
Yeah, you definitely do. But it's going to be a great PvP as well. We've talked a lot about the TBT, of course, because the first one's coming up, but it's Zest versus CJ Hero. They're both so capable in that matchup. Of course, I want to keep all of the crazy Zest stats until later on, but I think it will be a good one. I don't expect Hero to go down as easily as perhaps people are expecting, even though Zest is just on a killing streak at the moment. Hero's just that damn good in that matchup.
Well, anyone that watched I Am Katowice, even though he lost in the finals kind of convincingly to SOS, some of his other PvPs were like, what? Like, no one in the world would have won this game, but you just crushed it. What just happened there? His PvP is really, I want to say second to none, but it might just be second to Zest. So if anyone can give him a run for his money, it is Hero.
Yeah, I think that is very true. We're just waiting for all the observers to come in. I believe, yep, that was you with your barcode coming in, I think. Excellent. Good. Glad to see it. We got Flash already just spamming the chat. Go, 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 yo. I'm like, all right, okay. He wants to get at him. Outboxer will be the first in this best of 7 series. We are ready to rock and roll. It's only CJ Entus and KT Rolster left in this tournament, and they are both fighting for their lives. We could have a CJ versus KT final. We could have a team kill final for either team. That is, of course, entirely possible. And I should remind you, just as a special treat indeed, if you're worried that this will be the only best of 7 that you'll see from these incredible players, you do not need to be concerned. Both of these guys will play a minimum of 2 because there is a bronze match and there is a significant prize difference between 3rd and 4th place, and the bronze match will take place on day 4.
Well, that is an awesome thing to see. I'm really hoping there's no team kills tomorrow, but, you know, who doesn't want to see Flash versus Zest? So, and no matter how this ends up, it'll be pretty awesome.
I would tend to agree. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived at the first map of our best of 7. Welcome to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. If you've just tuned in, this is the first time you've seen this tournament, my god, you've missed out on a lot. You need to check out the VODs after this, but don't worry, we have some amazing entertainment for you. To the northwest position of Outboxer. In the orange trunks playing Terran, CJ enters Bbyong.
And in the bottom right of our map, God himself, the most accomplished StarCraft 1 player of all time, KT Rolster Flash.
Oh my. Flash's first ever best of 7 TBT. Maybe it's happened in some weird situation. I can imagine a long time ago in Brood War, alcohol being involved and a drunken bet. And in the depths of the team house late at night, 2 players battle for supremacy and their honor. But it was never televised, there's no proof it ever happened, so this is a first.
Indeed it is. And if that did happen in Brood War, Flash crushed the nerd, because
probably.
This guy, he's the greatest there ever was in Brood War, and you can't deny it, you can't argue it, and if you try, you're ignorant, because he was just God mode. And he's not there in StarCraft 2 yet, but damn is he close. One of the top-ranked players in Pro League. Really, Bbyong is one of the only Terrans that you can count on to actually fight evenly against Flash.
Yeah. The amount of hype around Flash in Pro League up to this point has been justifiable. The amount of hype around him outside of Pro League, maybe not so much. But this is one of the first times where Flash is actually putting his foot down and saying, no, seriously, I am for real. This is going to happen. His performance was actually a shock to many people in Group A of this tournament.
Yeah, well, Group A was really the group that stood out a little bit bigger than Group B as far as skill goes. I think most people would agree. And the way that Flash just kind of dominated it, I was surprised. Like, going in, I'm not sure if I really thought he was going to make it through. I think I was really thinking Hero and Life, but you know, Flash surprises. And here he is. He definitely is a favorite to take this tournament. In fact, if he beats Bbyong, I think he is going to win.
I think Zest would certainly be a massive obstacle for him, but I don't think it's impossible for him to beat a player like that. If I recall correctly, this week he's actually only playing Shine in Pro League, isn't he? So he doesn't even have to worry about revealing any kind of strats.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And that's actually a grudge match as well, because Shine is the one that very surprisingly knocked him out of Code A this season. So that'll be a good match as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's cool that Flash can at least play without having to worry too much about the Pro League preparation for that. And there's no Zerg left in this tournament, so he's got nothing else to show, really. And that's great news for him.
Yeah, you know, if you're not playing a match that week and you're a Pro League guy, it's like, you know, every week you're preparing different things, so you don't really need to hide anything. This should be, like, Flash going all out to win. And we saw in Group A he was going all out instead of, you know, just cheesy play or something like that. Yeah. And he's already getting into, like, his very standard type of macro play here, and Bbyong mirroring him as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do really mean mirroring here. It is as mirrored as it gets. They start the starports at exactly the same time. Bbyong landing there. He's going to get his Hellions out slightly later just because the good old musical chairs there with the buildings took a little bit longer. But there are no differences in builds here by the looks of it, with the exception of the fact that Bbyong got his CC up just a tiny bit earlier, but it's pretty much inconsequential. Now, finally, we get to see changes. Flash putting down his second factory.
Ooh, that's pretty exciting right there to be throwing down a second factory right now. A tech lab goes up on that barracks, presumably to switch with the factory. And this is kind of cool, man. Looks like it should be mech going against what looks like maybe a Hellion Harassment plus Marine drop to start from Bbyong.
Yeah, and a little poke at the front there by Flash. He sees a wall of Marines. He's got to think to himself, all right, okay, I've got to prepare for something here. That's a decent number of Marines that you've got there. Set up very, very nicely, very defensively. And a Viking coming out here from Flash immediately. That's a fairly interesting choice.
Oh man, I am loving this Blue Flame upgrade, TotalBiscuit. This is great. 2 factory Blue Flame Hellions. That means he's going to be using a lot of Hellions and probably Hellbats later on as well. You know, TVT in StarCraft 1 was very Vulture-based, especially on flat maps like this, and Flash going ahead and using that style once again.
All right, here we go. And Flash with a little bit of indecision as to where he wants to engage because he's got to fight both right now. The Viking coming back to engage, but Flash does not get the better end of the engagement there whatsoever. And Bbyong obliterates the army. What an effective drop here from the CJ player. And can he end it right now? He's certainly going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's doing a ton of damage. Look at this. Bbyong getting in here, killing off quite a few units, and even killing off some SCVs now. That was a pretty good attack from Bbyong, I have to say. But, you know, TotalBiscuit, you called it pretty well. He was a little bit indecisive about what to attack, you know. Did he attack the Hellions? Did he attack the Marines? And realistically, he should have been focusing down Bbyong's Hellions.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. It was interesting to see that Flash didn't actually lose that many SCVs. It looked like he would lose a lot more than he did. But there is still an associated cost with what ended up happening, and Bbyong ends up being 8 workers ahead as a result. Both pretty much cancel out each other's armies. We're seeing Flash add on another Viking. Actually got lost in the fight there, surprisingly enough. The Marines must have shot it down. But Flash's counterattack is going to come in with Blue Flame Hellions. Bbyong prepared here with a Viking, but it's slightly out of range, and as a direct result, Flash is going in with the Blue Flame Hellions right into the middle line. He's going to try and target down the main middle line. He already does absolutely huge damage, but Bbyong with great splits and engagements here is driving away Flash's drop. 4 workers killed here by Flash. The aggression's not over. He's going to try and poke the front, but that is a wall that is not going to break anytime soon.
Certainly not to Blue Flame Hellions.
No.
Certainly not in these numbers. But, you know, that was a good drop by Flash overall to pick off a few SCVs, grab a couple Hellions, and he actually got out of there with everything. As long as he repairs, it all looks good. So, strong moves there by Flash, and he does have map control right now.
That he does, and efficiency-wise, Flash has been doing all right. I know Bbyong's lost 20 units, and we see only 15 down for Flash. So a small resource difference, 150, but it is well, for a while anyway, it was a mirror TVT in a big way. Although we are seeing Bbyong actually go for mech as well, with a later Blue Flame upgrade, but is currently adding on 2 tanks at a time. Armory's on the way up here for Flash. So we could, of course, see Hellbats, and more to the point, we get the upgrades. Flash going for another run by. Bbyong, not even remotely prepared for that, is taking significant damage, but the Hellions do come in to clean this up. How much damage was done? Significant. Another 8 workers down.
Yeah, totally worth it there for Flash.
Yeah.
In the meantime, he's going to be getting Hellbats really soon. His armory is about to finish. His 3rd command center is about to finish. Whereas Bbyong looks like he's kind of playing a more aggressive brand of mech, right? He's just making units, continuing to produce some Vikings here, but no 3rd command center.
Nope, no sign of 3rd command center at all. And we have seen Bbyong's aggressive mech. We saw it yesterday in play against DRG, as it turned out, and it worked out very, very well. It was an exceptional style. And what scares me about Bbyong's mech is that he seems to have so many varieties of it, and he shows one kind and switches very fast. I mean, I believe against DRG he had 5 to 6 factories. So he did this bizarre tech switch, which is the kind of thing you usually only see from Protoss. It was incredible to watch, and it really caught DRG off guard.
Yeah, it certainly did. Now, he's going to have to move out and do some damage here to Flash, and I think it won't be hard for him to at least make that 3rd base lift. Flash is going to spread himself a little bit thin here, I think. You know, this is a big amount of area to actually cover with so few siege tanks.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned because there's currently 5 units out on the map here for Flash. Flash does get the consolation there on the 3rd, or at least prevent it for a while. There's 2 Hellbats in that medevac over there. This has actually forced Bbyong to swing around to the top side of the map, which means that Flash gains a bunch more time and also gains information on what's coming at him. He sees the arm. He's going to lose 2, maybe 3 Hellions for his trouble. Will Flash meet in the middle? No. He's going to try and set up here to do some damage. The floating factory will see the blue flame Hellbats, but Bbyong actually isn't reacting. Roasting time as Flash gets right into the main mineral line. So slow reactions from Bbyong, losing yet more workers. That's 20 workers killed right now, and Flash has gained the opportunity to fortify the third. But here we go. Bbyong's trying to make this happen, and that's a lot of tanks.
That is a ton of tanks moving forward, but tanks in siege mode are amazing defensively, as we see, just eliminating so many of these Hellions of Bbyong. But Bbyong not done quite yet. He still has these Vikings. Will he try a land? Doesn't look like it quite yet, at least.
A little bit dicey to do that, I think, because he cedes his air control in the process. And he already knows that Flash has 3 Vikings, so he only has that 2 Viking lead, and of course Flash with the defender's advantage. In the back of all of this, Flash has been dropping mineral lines, doing a little bit more damage with just a single blue flame Hellbat, which is really, really cool. It's not doing a huge amount, but it is forcing Bbyong to defend at home.
Well, Bbyong actually has lost 31 workers so far, so that's a pretty big deal. And Flash looks like he's just going to hold his third, so Flash has gotten ridiculously far ahead here and continues to harass in the main base of Bbyong.
Yeah, we got harass on both sides at the moment. Finally cleaned up in Bbyong's base. It was a very slow reaction from Flash to the Blue Flame Hellions that went into his mineral line. So 15 workers have been killed there, but Bbyong's economy is devastated. He is on 35 SCVs to 60, and the siege was unsuccessful here from Bbyong. He's just given up on it. He says, I've got to pull back. I know what you're building behind this. This is not going to work out for me. I can't be caught out here. Yet another attempted piece of harassment there by Flash, shut down by Bbyong. Bbyong's in full-on defensive mode, but with that kind of worker deficit, could he possibly catch up?
I don't think so. Look at the supply differential here. It's like 40 plus at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Flash with medevacs that are going to be holding, well, I guess they have siege tanks in them right now, but normally you drop Hellbats on your opponent's siege tanks. You know, I think he's going to be able to probably just break Bbyong's third if that's what he's going to go for.
Would be a surprise to see siege tanks dropped on top of other siege tanks, though. That's something you don't expect. It's like, what's in the medevac? Well, that is quite the surprise. But Flash is moving out with a siege tank and a Hellbat in the drop down to the south of the map here.
All right. I don't think I've seen many drops quite like that, but
Nope.
we'll see. We'll see how he does. He does have a Viking going along with it. Not sure about that either, but he's moving up the middle of the map and has a pretty sizable tank force. He does have a tank lead of 10 to 7 right now, and the later we get in the game, the more important the tank lead is.
Flash escorting his medevac with a Viking, which is kind of cute. 2 medevacs passed at the top of the map, and it actually caused Flashes to turn around and head back towards his base, and also bring his Viking interception force out there to shut this down, and that is gone. However, there is a little bit of a Blue Flame Hellbat drop down to the 4th base here of Flash, so that's been delayed for a while. This medevac with the tank is trying to get away as best he can. Somehow, there was yet more damage being done, though. The Hellbats that were dropped into the natural killed yet more workers. Bbyong is macroing his heart out on 3 bases to try and catch up here. It's currently 50 versus 70. Bbyong with the run-by and a Blue Flame Hellion into the 3rd base, doing a little bit more.
Yeah, actually killing quite a bit with that one Blue Flame Hellion.
Yeah.
Pretty good job there. And, you know, by the way, you know how we were thinking about that 1 siege tank, 1 Blue Flame drop?
Yeah.
The second Flash dropped out the siege tank, he picked it back up and left with it. I think he was just thinking he had 2 Hellbats in there, so...
Yeah,
kind of a funny little mistake by Flash, but not making a big difference here. He's still up by 30 supply and a base.
Yes, he is, and we're back to Hellbat drops, man. We're back to the start, but we're also back to some really cool stuff indeed, because Flash is going battle cruisers, whereas his opponent is continuing to push on the mech front with 2 more factories.
Well, you know, over time, siege tanks versus siege tanks is kind of a draw, but
yeah.
Mech armies, the best they can do for anti-air is really Vikings. So if you do go into BCs, that's really part of the ultimate endgame. A bunch of Vikings, Ravens, and BCs.
Yeah, and we've seen it at times before when we've gone for ultra late game TVT, and wow, that was a failed run by Bbyong as several Blue Flame Hellions are cut down, but the drop from Flash was also shut down at the natural as well. But yeah, it ends up going air versus air. You know, we all remember Boxer v Rain. No, the other Rain, the Terran Rain. That was an insane game in MLG. Yeah. But TVT does sometimes go that way, and it works. It's very, very effective.
Well, that's going to be what he chooses to finish this off with. You notice there's a bunch of missile turrets being built around with these siege tanks. These siege lines are like not unbreakable, but pretty close to there. Notice there's kind of a mobile force for Flash in the center to go help shore up defenses anywhere he gets hit. And this is going to allow him to get into his BCs, which he's already started producing.
We like that. Bbyong's response to that is to build 4 more command centers, by the way, behind this. So he's saying, oh, right, well, I don't have that many SCVs, so I guess we're just trying to replace them entirely. Which, you know, it does happen. There's no doubt about that. Weapon refit here, Yamato Cannon, and a second armory being added on for Flash. He wants to go with the double upgrades. This transition is now even better than it used to be because of those combo bundle upgrades that you now have for Terran.
Yeah, that's actually a very important thing to note, because even back in the day, as we keep talking about, when it was mech versus mech and you'd eventually see BC, you know, you had to separately upgrade for those battle cruisers. But these things are going to have upgrades. Hold on, though. We have an attack coming in here.
Bbyong with the Hellbat drop right behind it, and that worked pretty well. Flash with a second siege line being set up here, but the initial one did get crushed quite nicely here by Bbyong. Bbyong takes some land, and that's very important. It is a land war when it comes to TVT. It's extremely vital, but certainly doesn't crush Flash's army. It just forces Flash to go back, and I think Bbyong wanted to do that so that he could think about securing that 4th base. That's what he's trying to do, but the thing is, Flash has already realized that's what's going on, and he's starting to kind of swing his siege line around to the south here.
Yeah, he's getting into a new position, kind of guarding his 4th instead of setting up a contain.
Yeah.
And Bbyong, will he actually try to break this with that many Vikings? I don't think so. That could be suicidal.
It could very well be. He's going for it? Oh, good lord. Most of the Hellbats died in the air before they even went down, but it was enough to break the initial siege line. There is a Thor behind this. The Viking war is real. Where are the Ravens? They're not actually even out yet. And Bbyong may very well be able to break this. There aren't quite enough tanks for Flash.
Yeah, looks like he does lose the air war, but wins that ground battle. The thing is, the battle cruisers are out, so the fact that he lost that air war means that Flash is actually okay.
Yeah.
Because he is going to be able to hold this off with the BCs.
Yeah, it really does mean that. There's going to be 5 battle cruisers out very, very soon. The Vikings are in the air for Flash, and they're not in the air for Bbyong, so these tanks suddenly don't really become that meaningful. Bbyong's response to this, after seeing the battlecruisers, oh, right, I'm not prepared to make that transition myself. I'm too far behind in that tech respect. I will start it, but my answer is going to be Thor's for the time being.
Well, right now we have a funny little battle with a Thor over here on the other island, and ooh.
Oh, Flash ruining the battle there. Playing a little bit unfair, brings battlecruisers to a Hellbat fight.
Indeed he does, and we'll be able to take out that Bbyong command center, but let's not forget Bbyong made quite a few of those. Losing one is not a huge deal right now.
No, it is not. That was really, really cool. We're already seeing, if this is the caliber of the rest of this TVT series, then this is going to be my series of the year, man. I love TVT, at least watching it anyway. And these are 2 masters at work here. As it stands, the Thor count for Bbyong is not that high. It's good enough to really threaten those Vikings at the front, but you want to kill battlecruisers with that? You're going to be tickling them. Even with the high-impact payload, you need a lot more to make that work.
Yeah, Thors do not have a good matchup overall against BCs, so we're going to have to see a lot more Vikings out of Bbyong, but you know what? Taking control of the ground is okay for a bit. If he can just secure some more bases and really get his economy going, but another nice Hellbat drop by Flash, and even a planetary won't stop the SCV carnage.
Oh, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Getting up its Hellbat time, says Flash. He obliterates that mineral line quite nicely. And even Bbyong actually taking some bad trades up to the top. Flash's missile turrets seem to be just that little bit extra effective. He lost, I think, 2 Vikings and a medevac filled with Hellbats to stationary missile turrets that had no actual defense. So that's a bit of a mistake there from Bbyong. I don't even think those turrets have high-sec auto-tracking, actually.
No.
No, I don't think they do, so that's really weird. But it's interesting to see how Bbyong is attempting to deal with this, because Flash now has 7 BCs. These are BCs that are about to have +3 weapons, and he's working on +2 plating as well. He's adding the Ravens in there, which is, you know, maybe that's the key thing. A great little run by there by Flash once again. Bbyong gets this around with the planetary, which is good. But the Ravens are key to this, because they shut those Vikings down, and they allow that air dominance to continue. Bbyong switched over to high impact. Look at that. You very rarely see a Thor do that.
No, indeed not. This is pretty exciting for Flash, I have to say, because his unit composition is becoming like the ultimate one, whereas Bbyong's is the panic one.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing mass Widow Mines pop out in a TVT like this, it's because the player making the Widow Mines is behind, and he knows that he just needs to get a really good engagement with those Widow Mines.
Yeah.
And that can happen. You run a bunch of those under, they don't really have the highest priority for your opponent's units to attack. So sometimes you get an insane burrow, and just the ridiculous damage output of the Widow Mines can change the battle into your favor.
Oh yeah, it can. The main problem is you're rolling the dice on that, because in a battle of that size, you generally can't control those Widow Mines. You've seen players be able to micro Widow Mines before. There are a few tricks to it. It's not as easy as it sounds, but maybe like if you're in a probe line, you can do that. When you've got 12 of them and there's a 200 army floating above you, you're not going to get much control. So it's like, how good is your dice, you know? Is it going to connect with what it needs to connect to, or isn't it? Because if it doesn't, well, you got to wait 50 seconds and the fight's going to be over by then.
That's for sure. In a single scan, they'll be cleaned up in seconds. So
yeah.
It is definitely a desperation tactic, but one that could end up working out.
It could.
This is such a scary Flash army, though. Look at that. Oh, my God. He's got 12 tanks, 7 BCs, 6 Ravens, 15 Vikings. That is so hard to break with anything, Terran.
Yeah, it's the Ravens that really make the difference here, because you might be looking at Bbyong's unit counting station saying, oh, he's got the Viking League. Doesn't matter. PDDs are in play for one player and not for the other. And here it is. Look at the Widow Mines. They're burrowing beneath the battle cruisers. Will they get the connections they need? And they don't, I'm afraid, by the looks of it. The Vikings still alive. The battle cruisers, for the most part, still alive, trying to target down the Thors with their high-impact payloads. The tanks are gone, but of course that means Bbyong's tanks don't do anything. The battle is in the sky now, and Flash is winning that battle.
Oh man, that is a huge moment for Flash. Bbyong almost broke through there. He did kill the ground units, of course, but the flying units really are what matter, and Flash just has a superior army right now. More and more Widow Mines, more and more Vikings being created from Bbyong. If he can still wipe out all these Vikings and BCs, he has a shot.
I don't even know what's going on at the top of the map. Flash put like a proxy planetary, and then Bbyong landed a barracks next to it, and it was this really silly building fight. But whatever's happening at the moment is certainly far higher level than I could ever understand. The Widow Mine's trying to burrow below the battle cruisers once again. Flash does not split, loses one. A second volley of Widow Mines goes off, but there's a couple of Yamato cannons in response. Take out 2 tanks in the process. There are still 2 battle cruisers remaining, 3 more being added in here, plus 3 plating coming in. But the key factor out of anything else, the number you need to be looking at right now here is 14. That's the Viking count for Flash versus 4 here for Bbyong.
That's true, but Bbyong is producing 8 Vikings at a time. It's pretty rare that you can say something like that. He's got 4 starports, 3 reactors, so he may be able to pull ahead in that Viking count. He's got to keep fighting, keep his bases till then, though. Lands all these Vikings, a lot of damage done to him, and Bbyong continues to press forward.
He's trying, man. As you were saying, 8 Vikings at a time. When does that ever happen? Flash still has air superiority. He's the single battlecruiser that is going to town, but 3 more come in. A new squadron from the south will obliterate the tank count on the ground yet again. Flash maintains air superiority, although he is producing less Vikings than his opponent, and his Ravens are gone.
Without those Ravens, if he's producing less Vikings, eventually he'll lose the air battle. So this is an issue that Flash is going to have to deal with pretty soon. I think he's unaware of just how many Vikings Bbyong is making at a time right now.
I don't think anyone would necessarily predict that number. You know, you're building 8 Vikings at a time is not something that has been mentioned in a Starcraft cast, I think, for a very, very long time, if ever. So that might even be another first that we've had. I've never seen that many Vikings being built at once. That's insane. And
no,
Flash,
normally it's 4 to 6 in a situation like this. So, I mean, Bbyong really has put in the time and effort, and that Viking count is tied up. But there's still battle cruisers for Flash.
There is. Yamato Cannon will be useful, of course. The Widow Mine count is pretty much gone now. So Bbyong seems to have given up on that idea. Doesn't like rolling the dice there. He is going for some run-bys, but there's just defensive lines here for Flash everywhere. Missile turrets and siege tanks on the ground. He's almost unassailable in that regard. He's taken yet another base. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th base here for Flash. And his Air Force is still looking pretty good, but Bbyong's Viking count, man, it's getting scary. But this is what I want to see from Flash. He's restarted Raven production.
He really does need it, too. He keeps scanning to see where the Vikings are and how many there are. And in this case, there are more for Bbyong, so he's got to be careful about that. Flash has 1 more armor upgrade, which is nice. But these Vikings can out-micro this army of Flash.
Yeah, that's very true, and there are no Ravens in this fight at the moment, and here we go. Stutter Step Michael almost one-shotting a battle cruiser. That's just how powerful this Viking force is. Now it's Viking on Viking. Will Flash actually have the numbers? He brings BCs behind, doesn't want to get them near those Vikings, and I don't really blame him. We're going to see a lot of dead SCVs here. We need to see those Ravens as well, but Flash is losing the air battle for the first time in this game.
Oh man, so many Vikings from Bbyong, close to his rally points as well, but Flash does have superior supply still. Maybe the air battle isn't it. Maybe Flash can still break through on ground, because only Vikings are not as good as Vikings and BCs.
Yeah, that is very true, and it would be a crazy transition indeed if we saw Flash go back to ground mech, because it is not what Bbyong is capable of dealing with. Even though Bbyong is winning these battles, which is awesome for Bbyong, his economy's been way behind. He just dropped the sickest mule hammer here up to the top, and we're seeing awesome harass, actually. Auto-turret harass has gone down to kill all of those mules.
A fantastic choice, really, and they are killing quite a few of these mules, really hurting Bbyong's economy quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, the Vikings continue to chase Flash down, and he is eliminating quite a few. Let's not forget, he does have that one additional armor upgrade, and that's changing the battle quite a bit into his favor.
Man, Flash actually had no right to almost win that fight, but you saw he was target firing individual groups of Vikings. That was no A move. He saw those red health guys, and he took him out. And now... oh, wow, it doesn't matter. We saw the tanks marching forward and said, here comes the next phase. Bbyong says, no, just end it now, please. I can't bear it anymore. GG indeed. Flash puts one on the board in his best of 7 here versus Bbyong. What a brilliant start to tonight.
Really, seriously, a good first game. That could be the game of the series right there. Very close, some great mech play, some great battle cruiser switches there from Flash. And, you know, I love that Bbyong really kicked up that Viking production so much. It was his one big chance to come back, but Flash just barely had too much all the time.
Yeah. Oh, man, Flash played a brilliant TVT there. Bbyong was looking pretty good as well. The fact that he got so far economically behind, he was still able to trade blow for blow with Flash up to almost the 40-minute mark. That speaks volumes, and it's unfortunate that Bbyong ended up in that situation where the tank count was kind of slowly rising. He was committed to building, you know, knowing he was behind, building the one thing that countered what Flash currently had. But, of course, looking in the background, Flash is restarting his mech production, and Bbyong suddenly realizes it as this giant tank line just rolls across the north side of the map. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's me done.
Well, you know, our next map here going to be Frost, and you got to wonder that if Flash doesn't get in early economic damage, if Bbyong doesn't do, you know, such a late third base, is Flash going to be able to win again? Because, as you said, you know, Bbyong, he held on for a long time and traded blow for blow. I think that this series is going to come really close to TotalBiscuit. I would not be surprised if we see a Game 7.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I mean, I love some TBT. I rarely get to see it of this caliber, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I don't know, man. Frost, it's a big map. Will we see mech here? It's definitely a map that we've seen mech on before in multiple matchups. A lot of people did like to mech here for a while against Zerg, at least. Not as much anymore, but this, of course, being TVT, it matters, I think, how badly do they want to open Hellbats, because Hellbats really transition to mech so easily.
They certainly do, and a lot of things transition out of mech now. You know, as we said, the Sky Terran transition now is much, much easier because of those combined upgrades. So we might just end up seeing an awful lot more of that. But it's not to say that we won't end up seeing a little bit of classic Marine tank action, always a possibility, going back to the old school kind of builds. Frost is big map, like you said, so will this go for long? It could. It is a best of 7 as well. I do expect to see some really aggressive builds thrown in here, because you don't generally see a best of 7 without at least one of those.
No, you have to cheese in a best of 7, absolutely. Maybe even multiple times. So could this, as one of the big maps, be a map that we see a cheese on just to throw each other off? Definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I would say so. And here we go, folks. The next map is about to begin. It is Frost. Flash currently leads one game in this best of 7 TBT series. One player will advance to the grand finals for a shot at winning $4,500 as the first place prize, which is a nice little take-home, I think, for a tournament you can play in your pajamas. It's always nice. When I was talking to a couple of the Kesper coaches, I was explaining, look at how this is an awesome opportunity. They don't even have to get dressed for this. When do they ever get to do that? They took that in good humor, which was awesome. But that's a lot of money, and even if they lose, they're still going to the bronze match, where there's actually a significant difference in 3rd and 4th place prize purse. So these guys are wanting to make this happen, and if this is the caliber of play we're going to see for the rest of the series, I'm going to be so happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gotta agree with you there.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is Frost, and this is the guy who is currently leading one game in this best of 7 TVT series. To the southeast position in the red trunks, playing Terran, KT Rolster's Flash.
And his opponent, despite getting pretty far behind early on, putting up a really good fight, CJ Entis Bbyong.
It was a great fight. It really, really was. And I hope it is indicative of what we expect to see from the rest of this series. Well, no crazy proxy nonsense as of yet. They're both putting barracks in their mains, which is a good sign.
Indeed it is. Might be saving those crazy proxy games for maybe a... You know, if I'm going to do it on a big map, it's going to be on Big Way Station, right? Because that map, it's hard to imagine how a game ends there, especially if it was a game like we just saw with Mech vs. Mech. It's like, oh man, you're just never going to have the upper hand enough to finish someone off. So might be saving it for something like that on map number 3.
Certainly a possibility. Now, what do you reckon to the fact that they both went into gas reasonably early on here?
Well, I think that they definitely do want to tech up. You know, to just go into a command center nowadays.
Bbyong,
oh my god. Double Barracks Reaper. I was wondering if one of them would pull something like this sometime in this series. And obviously, double Barracks Reaper against single Barracks Reaper. I think you gotta side with the double Barracks Reaper on that one, TotalBiscuit.
Yeah, you do. Oh, and Bbyong gets the wall off just in time. I mean, Flash scouted in the right direction. If he got into that base, then the jig would have been up. But, yeah, there's... it was actually a piece of advice that was given to me by someone in my Twitch chat when I was laddering and playing TVT. They said, why do you always open Reaper in every matchup? It's like, it's because I'm kind of comfortable with it. And it said, well... if you do that in TVT, that can happen to you. And this was after I'd lost to this very same build. And it can, because 2 Rax Reaper beats 1 Rax Reaper so badly, and transitioning out of it and saving yourself after getting hit by it is so difficult that this could be a game over very quickly.
Yeah, and I think it might be, because Bbyong actually, his SCV saw the reactor going up in the barracks, which tells him there's even going to be less units when he gets there.
Yeah.
And just 1 Reaper, when you roll in there with 2-3 Reapers, I mean, that's pretty one-sided. So I definitely see Bbyong getting an advantage at least here.
Yeah. I think once Flash realizes we'd need to see an SCV pull immediately just to try and maybe get us around if possible. It's going to be very hard against a player of Byung's caliber, but you can't just let those Reapers focus on anything. Yeah? There's 3 up right now. There's going to be 5. 2 are about to make their way into the base. A couple of Marines did come out, which is good, and I like the fact that Flash actually has an SCV already off the line to tank some of those shots. That's really important. He doesn't want to lose any of those Marines yet. Flash sees there's now 3, and he realizes, all right, okay, I realize what's happening to me now. I'm going to have to pull at least a few SCVs here, but he's now got 4 Marines up. He's swapping around. He's going to go for double Hellion here, so actually, Bbyong, he's going to have 5, but I have a feeling that Flash may have actually held this off.
Well, you know what? When those 2 Hellions pop out, he's going to be feeling just absolutely great, because those are going to do such a great job. And then with the 4 Marines as well, you're right, he's done a great job. If his Reaper was out in the map or something, he would have been in trouble, but he's been defending perfectly. Yeah, and now the focus fire is coming in, but the Hellions are now out, so Bbyong can still kind of fight if he controls well, but this is no... Oh, the shots! And what are we going to say? Oh, Flash obliterates every Reaper. Oh, my God. Man. That was so painful. Bbyong almost pulled some beautiful micro, but instead botched it. And now look at the supply. Flash is up by 10. What? He's got map control. His command center's faster. Everything is in his favor. I knew I shouldn't have listened to Twitch chat. It's entirely possible to hold this, at least if your name is Flash.
great decision from Flash to keep the Reaper back. The SCV, almost the MVP of that. Like, just having that one SCV out there to tank so many shots, because he kept his Marine count completely alive until the second wave. Ideally, in that situation, you want to pick off enough Marines so that the Reapers are just going to go to town and finish everything off. That never happened, and then Flash was able to hold on long enough. Now he goes up the ramp and takes some pretty bad fighting there, because, of course, Bbyong is prepared for him, so maybe a little bit of a slip there, but he has denied the expansion, and Flash's is already up. This is fantastic.
And it's a pretty big deal, and Flash even has Cloaked Banshees on the way, so he's going to continue his harassment quite a bit. You know, I am really impressed with how well Flash did there.
Yeah,
that was a great defense. The fact that he was smart enough to keep his Reaper at home, to pull the SCV before anything came. He's like, no, something's coming. You want to hurt me. I'm not going to let it happen. It goes to show his decision-making process and how powerful that is.
Yeah, his decision-making there was just absolutely top-notch, no doubt about that. And Bbyong is now in a difficult spot. Certainly not a spot that is unwinnable, but the fact of the matter is he's not mining from his natural and his opponent is. His opponent has a tech advantage. Cloak is about to be done. Bbyong actually landing a Viking here, which is a really cool decision because it allows him to get a little bit more firepower in. He comes down, but they line up so badly, and Flash roasts him.
Wow, killing all those Marines. Ooh, the Widowmine shot does
nice.
A good job, but still, this Cloaked Banshee now coming in with no Marine support. You know, 2 Vikings, it's pretty hard to kill a Banshee with that, to be honest. You're going to have to use multiple scans.
Yeah, he almost got it down. I mean, he got the best shots he could have with that, I feel. And that has driven the Banshee away, so it didn't do too much damage. The Widowmine shot was fantastic. It hurt a lot. It was 2 Hellions down, another one very badly injured. It forced Flash to leave, and that at least maybe allows Bbyong to sort things out. Another scan was used, and it picked off the Banshee, but that was 2 scans to take 1 Banshee, scans that really couldn't afford because he was already behind economically anyway. And there is another Banshee in the middle line. There's no turret here, and there's 1 scan available by the looks of it, so... And Flash already picks off 3, and he gets out of scan. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, that was so close.
Very close there. Luckily for Bbyong, having 3 Vikings was just barely able to do it. That was an important Banshee kill right there. But Flash, you still have to give him a lead here. He's taking his 3rd base as Bbyong is taking his natural, and that's never a good sign in a mirror matchup.
No, it's not a good sign in any matchup in a mirror, much less so. And Bbyong is holding on as best he can here, certainly. He realizes he's going to need defense at the front because Flash is going to continue with this. Flash is going to... He actually started Blue Flame Hellion, then cancelled it and went straight to Armory there.
Looks like he may be wanting to go into Hellbats once again. He does have a vastly superior Hellion count here.
Yes.
We'll see if he actually moves in for a hit. You know, I don't think he's going to break him or anything. There's plenty of Hellions, a Widowmine, and 3 Vikings that he can land, so... Looks like Flash, for now, just going to settle for a light contain.
Yeah, certainly. And he realizes the mine is there. Bbyong was kind of trying to bait him on by just extending out just a little bit and saying, hey, look, you know, you've got more Hellions than me. Come on. You know, it'll be fine. But Flash is too savvy for that. So he's going to hold there for the time being. And then, of course, once the armory is done, he can actually turn those all into Hellbats. Now, I don't know if he would just charge the front with them.
If he turned those into Hellbats and charged the front against a Widowmine on high ground, a bunker, and a bunch of Hellions, and he beat it, I think we'd have to really look at the Hellbat again. It's like, I mean, they're pretty magical, but they aren't quite that good. So,
no.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to back up for now. He is rolling out some siege tanks, so he could do a push with those.
Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe using the siege tanks to shell that, do some damage to that Hellion line, because of course it only takes a couple of shots to take them out, then send the Hellbats in to kind of try and crush things. But Bbyong is starting to get his own siege tanks, and of course, more importantly, he has superior air control, at the moment anyway, thanks to this Raven.
Well, that is a very important aspect indeed. That means that he can keep spotting on, so siege tanks can't just push in and kill him. It means, of course, he can stop any Hellbat drops from getting in, as easily at least. But Flash has the map control, as you can see. He just keeps moving around the map, checking that 3rd base. He wants to make sure that his economy is ahead for as long as is humanly possible.
And he's going to be able to do that. The harassment has now begun. Bbyong is going to have Infernal Pre-Igniter with 4 Hellions and is going to attempt a run-by here. The Great Wall of Flash is being constructed, but it's not done yet. And that will not prevent those Hellions from getting in. 3rd base is vulnerable here, although Flash is also posturing at the front, And he's actually starting to pull back across the map here, but I have a feeling this harass from Bbyong could be very effective.
Yeah, it definitely could be. He already has his blue flame, so that's... You roast SCVs rather quickly with that.
Yeah.
Now, Flash actually... Look at that. This was actually a beautiful move. He set up 2 depots on the bridge, which I think may have bugged the AI there of Bbyong's units and forced them up into watchtower range.
Whoa, seriously?
So,
yeah, I thought it was a bit weird for Bbyong to move there. Like, why would you risk that? You know, basically giving away your gambit. If that is what he actually did, if we look at it here, Flash basically does have that wall off here on the bridge. That is so far beyond advanced. It begs to differ. There's a little Lyote creep just staring at it. It's like, Flash, you are too smart. I bow to you.
I'm not 100% sure that that is not a Hellion-proof hole or not. Sometimes it looks weird when it's on a diagonal in StarCraft 2. But anyways, it's a smart move either way from Flash. So,
yeah,
pretty sick play here. And he is pushing the 3rd base now.
That he is. Got some good shots off already. The high ground supply depot is there. It's not going to be there for too much longer, though, I'm afraid. They don't stand up to firepower of that magnitude. And Flash's tank count is looking amazing compared to Bbyong's. Bbyong's going to go Hellbat mode here and march right into the Maws of Death. But Flash is not even going to siege because he knows, look at the amount of DPS he has with just regular tanks. And he smashes through those Hellbats. And I think Flash just marches forward here with tanks.
Oh man, he is just putting on a clinic of how to play mech right now, pushing forward. SCV's coming up against Blue Flame Hellbats. No!
Oh, the roasting! It happens. Admittedly, Flash took a lot of economic damage behind this, but Bbyong has taken more. And this tank march continues. He says, you know what? Tanks without siege are pretty good too, especially if you're going to go pretty Hellbat heavy, so let's play. And Flash gets a great contained setup here. Bbyong is trying to deflect this. Flash has now cleaned up the harass, which was good harass, don't get me wrong. I mean, Bbyong killed 24 workers, but Flash has killed 46. So he's not too worried about that. And the second wave of tanks is on the way. It's 11 tanks versus 1 tank and a Hellbat.
Well, 1 tank and a Hellbat is a pretty good combination, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't hold off 11 siege tanks. So
usually
Flash should be able to pick up a victory here pretty quickly. I love some of these moves Bbyong is trying, though. Look at this. The offensive barracks land. Not really doing too much for him, but...
Yep, unfortunately, the splash is not quite big enough for that to actually make a difference there. But we have the second wave coming in here from Flash, and Bbyong does not look anywhere near where he needs to be to deflect it, and he realized that too. GG. Flash is a master of this matchup, and he is demonstrating it right here. And we got more games to go. That's 2 games up in a best of 7.
Pretty sick game so far, but Flash showing when he's playing mech, he is a step above.
Yeah, he really is. I'd love to make a 40k reference here, but about 3 people would get it, and I'm pretty sure In Control's in bed, so that's not going to happen. Maybe I'll make one later, but Flash is just the machine god at the moment. He is playing some phenomenal mech here.
He truly is, and just the skill behind this and the way he always knows how to move his units, when to switch into siege tanks, when to switch into battle cruisers. You can see that he's played mech at the highest levels in StarCraft 1 just forever, and a lot of it does translate over, even though it's not exactly the same. So really, really strong play here. So looking forward to the rest of this match and seeing, is Flash just going to smash Bbyong? Because the thing is, Bbyong is still having close series here.
Yeah,
I mean,
he is.
He's putting up a fight every time.
Yeah, he definitely is, especially on game 1. It's got to be disheartening to get what should have been like a build order advantage and then just be slapped down so badly by Flash there.
Well, it was a great defense. If double rack sweeper doesn't work, you put a lot of time and effort into getting some harass off that doesn't do a lot, especially when he lost all of them to that Hellion volley. So kind of a rough opening, but, you know, I think Bbyong can do better in the next map.
Yeah, I think he can. And we have already got an electrifying TVT series, which is reminding everyone why it's so sad that we haven't seen any of them lately. But we're delivering, folks. We're giving you one tonight. And it is a hell of a series up to this point. We could potentially have 5 more maps of it. Although if Flash has anything to say about it, no, we won't. We'll be back after the break, folks. A word from our sponsors before we go into Game 3 of Flash versus Bbyong. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of the best TVTs you have ever seen in your life. My name is TotalBiscuit, joined by Artosis.
Man, this has been fantastic so far. I'm so glad to finally be casting some TVT again. It's just so rare at the moment with so few good foreign Terrans. And then there's like no TVT in Korea outside of Pro League. It's great that we finally get a nice best of 7 like this, and it is not disappointing. Flash is playing out of his mind.
He really is. And we're hyping him a lot. But Bbyong is, at least in game 1, was keeping pace in a real way. And TVT is usually a game about small advantages and small leads that eventually grow. You don't usually see TVTs end quickly. And, oh wow, Flash is definitely ready to go. I don't even know what he's saying right now. He's spamming words. Here we go. Okay. Go, GLGL. Sast art. Well, it was certainly art, Flash. I'll give you credit for that. That was a masterclass. Gotta say.
You are so funny, Sast art. I wonder what he was trying to type there quickly.
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Like, I've got to say, of all the players in this tournament, the one thing Flash is not very good at is his English. Like, he has been, I think, the one player where we have deliberately done all of the videos and everything in Korean, because he just almost seems shy with his English skills, really.
Well, when you practice that much in StarCraft, you don't have a lot of time left over to learn a second language.
No, you do not. And no one is going to argue that Flash's language right now is StarCraft 2, and he is a master of it. However, an opponent stands in his way, and he's certainly not out yet. We have more maps to go. It's the best of 7. Anything can happen, as we have seen so many times in StarCraft 2's history. To the northeast position in the orange trunks playing Terran. Down 2 games. CJ enters Bbyong.
And in the bottom left of Waystation, in these close spawns, it is none other than KT Rolster Flash.
Oh, yeah. Now, let's see what Flash can come up with now. Will we see some more mech? I think we will. I mean, obviously it is his preferred strategy at the moment, but Bbyong varying it up yet again, showing that mirrors can have plenty of different possibilities. Even in the early game, he's going Refinery first.
That's right. It looks like he's going to be doing a very fast factory here. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for something like a quick cloaked Banshee, especially in these close spots. Why not do a very aggressive tech-based build here? I think it's a great choice.
And Flash is not going tech-based at all. He may decide to grab the double gas on 15. That's a possibility. But outside of that, and we could even see... Oh, there we go. He's at least grabbing a gas. I was going to say, he's not surely not going gasless, surely. But no, he is grabbing a gas. He's just grabbing one later.
Yeah, a little bit more normal, I guess, quote-unquote, from Flash here. But, you know, I like the gas first builds personally. I really like to see what that early tech can get done. Because if you get any sort of SCVs kills off of it, it makes up for your slower command center.
Yeah, it does. And this gas is going to get scouted. Oh, actually, it's not. Funnily enough, he didn't quite see it. He still didn't quite see it. This would be a really weird situation. Still hasn't... Oh, he sees... Well, he sees something mindful, but he hasn't had a chance to click on it yet. So, and he's going to leave without doing so. So, but, you know, with the barracks timing, yeah, he can discern, I would think, that that was an earlier gas.
Yeah, I mean, the factory's pretty quick, so he's got to be thinking, oh, okay, you know what, this this could lead into something like a Banshee. I better watch out for all sorts of different tech.
Yeah, I think so. And if Flash has proven anything, it's that build order wins don't exist against him, apparently, in a best-of-7 series. That double Reaper, which should have done so much, was shut down so hard by a build that shouldn't have been able to do so, that if I was Flash right now, I'd be feeling confident against anything that can be thrown at me. And there's the Starport coming up right here from Bbyong.
Well, I am wondering here. I guess he's probably going to go right into a Banshee from this, but he might make a medevac first to try to get some harassment done. He doesn't have a lot of units to really drop off, though, so not exactly sure what his idea is here, but he is rallying his Hellions across the map right now to put on some pressure.
Yeah, I like the idea of a little poke with a Banshee at the back. In particular, this map is really good for Banshee because of the huge space behind every single base, and establishing early air control can be fairly important here, since they have spawned in the positions where they get access to the islands.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point there. If this game goes long at all, we definitely could see them take those islands. But you know what? Bbyong is putting on a lot of pressure, and he's already killed off quite a few Marines.
Yep, unfortunately he doesn't get the shot on that one. If he got that one, then that would have been a really nice trade there. So far, the control from Flash has been pretty good. Trying to line things up. Very small little battles here, micro battles, which are what Flash is absolutely fantastic at. He wants to try and get an SCV there. He's not going to get one. That's going to get shut down. Cloak is coming on, but there is an engineering bay going up, and I think Flash is saying to himself, well, what you just poked me with, that doesn't seem like anything that's too committal. I think that there's got to be a starport behind this, and I certainly didn't see a medevac, so I think there's a Banshee coming in. And you see a Viking coming up behind this for Flash as well, so I think he smelled it. Oh, he knows now.
Yeah, this seemed pretty obvious to Flash,
Yeah.
and he is countering it just right with a couple missile turrets already coming up. It's nice that Bbyong knocked out all those Marines, though, because it's hard to cover everything with missile turrets.
Yes,
The Banshee
yeah.
normally can find some way to do some damage.
Yeah, it's not like against an Oracle where one in the mineral line's probably going to be fine. Banshee range is pretty good, and they're certainly not as fragile. So you can find ways in, especially if you have a lot of this air area around here that's very much open. It's not like you have to worry about retreating, but this Viking is going to be really annoying, and cloaking isn't done yet. So the Banshee's going to be driven back across the map, at least for a little while, but it will meet up with the second one. So Flash has got to watch out.
Well, Bbyong does cloak and move back in over that Viking. We'll see if he can get something done. I think right now he's feeling a bunch of pressure. He needs to try to mess up some SCVs some. Flash isn't greatly ahead in that area, but he's got a lot of tech himself. He does have that extra mule dropping all the time, so his economy is better.
Interesting idea here from Bbyong. He's trying to draw the Vikings out of position so that the second Banshee can come in, which has currently gone unscouted, but I think Flash is a bit too savvy for that as well. He goes into range. Bear in mind, the detection range of a missile turret is longer than its actual attack range, and that's causing problems here for Bbyong's Banshee. A scan goes down. That should be a kill. It will be a kill. The other one goes into the other mineral line, gets shot at as well, and has got one kill so far. I mean, up to this point, this harass is not really paid for itself at all.
Yeah, really ineffective, to be honest. I mean, I guess it's nice that he's forced some early missile turrets out of Flash, and that I guess Flash had to make some Vikings when he would have preferred to make some attacking units, but it's really not done anything, and Flash is just looking safe and solid as ever.
Yeah. Is there still any doubt in anyone's mind about Flash's TBT? There shouldn't be after seeing this series so far. This is proving a lot. And Bbyong, who has been playing very well in Pro League, doesn't quite seem to be on the same level at the moment. And every game he's playing against Flash, he seems to slip further and further behind. Not just in terms of maps, but in terms of his capability to keep up.
Indeed, he does. Now, Bbyong is moving out across the map, and he is choosing Marine Tank going up against the mech of Flash. I'm pretty sure Flash is going to go mech. It's not 100% committed yet, but he has a lot of Hellions right now. But Hellions against Siege Tank Marine can be difficult.
Yeah, they certainly can, because you want to try and get the best angle you possibly can on those Marines and take them out. If you don't get the angle, it ends up actually being terrible. You'd think, oh, Hellions versus Marines, that's easy. But not if the Marines are lined up nicely, and not if the tanks are behind them. Those Hellions die quickly. Strangely enough, Flash turned his units into Hellbats, and then right back into Hellions, maybe just flexing his muscles there. But the attack so far has not come, and Bbyong is just setting up a defensive position here.
That's right. He's going to have to macro up a little bit more heavily. He's going to need to grab some Marauders. He's going to need to get his stim upgrades and combat shields, get some medevacs out, and then he can start to try to control the map. As of right now, Flash's army is a little bit scary. I don't think he can attack in against 4 siege tanks, but you know, he's going to have to get some siege tanks of his own, because once stim and medevacs are out, Hellions are not going to cut it.
No, they absolutely will not. The kiting is fantastic, and of course the DPS is just too damn high. Again, there's always that possibility of a huge jackpot shot that can happen, but it's too risky. And with the massive count of siege tanks that will be behind this, the Hellions are not going to last very long at all. Wow, Flash is kind of asserting his air dominance over the base there. I think he was looking for an air unit popping out to maybe try and snipe, just as it was coming out of the starport there, but he didn't find it.
Yeah, it's a cool little move to do, because he's not going to be in position for the first time that happens, so may as well fly in. Maybe you kill a Viking or a medevac, and you get a little bit of extra scouting done as well.
Yeah, why not? You get to ascertain your opponent's air strength as well. If your opponent comes after you, you know that he's dedicated a lot to air. If he doesn't, chances are he knows that he can't fight you, so you get a bit of indirect information there as well. And we enter at least a little bit of a cooling off period for both of these players after poking at each other, prodding, and trying to find out what's going on. And in the current situation, Flash has a lead.
He certainly does. You know, he's going for a unit composition that's extremely cost-effective a lot of the time, and he's taking his third base first, but this is right when Bbyong is moving out. So if he moves out and punishes this third, then everything can be fine for him. And by the way, he has no medevacs, so this attack, he's going to get one good stim out of it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's really risky as well. Oh, Infernal Pre-Igniter's gonna finish just as Flash engages here. This could be an anti-timing maybe. Stimpack just finished, but the Hellbats are already in there. The tank shelling's coming in as well. Both sides taking significant damage. Marauders, of course, smashing their way through the Hellbat line. And Bbyong actually does have enough to break this. Flash trying to evacuate units, trying to drop on top, but it's not happening, and Bbyong breaks through.
Very nice break from Bbyong. That was really his one chance there. He barely does it, but you know what? He does it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Forcing an evacuation of this third base. A successful attack, I think you have to call it, from Bbyong.
Yeah, definitely, and it looked like it could have gone either way, because Blue Flame just finished, but Stim also finished at pretty much exactly the same time. Bbyong eats a couple of hits, but then decides, oh, damn, I've got Stim, I should probably move back now, and is able to get those good tank shellings off, and the Blue Flame Hellions, the Blue Flame Hellbats, in fact, evaporated, and then Bbyong is really able to make it count. And denying that third base is a big deal, because if that had gone up while Byung's wasn't even, it's not even built yet, it's not done, he had to make that happen.
Well, he certainly did make it happen, so, you know, he knows what he's doing in this matchup when he's going for the bio tank against Mech, and resetting Flash's army like that, it's pretty painful, man. You know, the mech units, they make slow, they're kind of expensive.
Yep.
You really want to keep them alive. Every siege tank you lose as a mech player is a deep wound on your army.
Yeah, it is. It takes so long to rebuild that. It also, of course, locks down a full production facility just to build one of the damn things. Can't react to those out, I'm afraid. So it takes a long time to build it, and of course it limits your opportunity to be flexible with your composition because you're trying to just get back to that baseline that you need. You've always got to have a few of them. You need that linchpin that you can fight around. If it's not there, then you're just going to get rolled over.
Well, right now, you know, he's holding tight. I love that he's taken his island base in the back there and thrown up some missile turrets, because trying to take that ground third did not work out for him before, that's for sure.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, Bbyong is taking his third. It's a little bit later still than Flash's island third, but, you know, that's okay. He has map control at this point, and he has a very mobile army.
Well, here come the Hellbats, and they don't get much done, unfortunately, but he is also going into the main base, and that might very well get a little bit done, and it actually does absolutely nothing. Bbyong has killed 13 workers up to this point, by the way. As ineffective as those Banshees were, it's just slowly has been accruing over time. Flash has killed none so far. Those Hellbat drops were shut down decisively, didn't get anything done, and Bbyong for, I don't know if it's necessarily the first time this series, but he's definitely asserted a decent supply lead, which is not something he's really been able to do too much up to this point.
Yeah, and, you know, he's going to keep that supply lead until they battle, probably, because the way that Flash is playing this is very different than some ways that we've seen mech when Hellbats are strong like this. And that is, he's going 3 factory siege tank, 1 factory with reactor on Hellbats. So he's going for, like, a really unbreakable, strong late-game Terran army, whereas, you know, he could have a much higher supply right now if he was focusing more heavily on Hellbats.
I'm a bit worried because the supplies look even, but there's actually like 20 workers more here for Flash, so Bbyong's army is significantly larger. That concerns me. If Flash survives a bit longer, it's going to be great, because Flash did get a successful Hellbat drop on the 3rd and on the natural, forcing a lot of wasted mining time and killing 11 workers, equalizing things out there. But, again, Flash's army is smaller, and he's relying on this mobility with the drops, which means that he could end up in a really nasty spot. Now he's deciding, you know what, I want to try and hold the 3rd base with a sensor tower, and Bbyong's the one who's going to get mobile. He's got actually, I think he's going to try and hit the island. That seems risky with that many turrets.
Ooh. Well, yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to lose a lot of medevacs and have stranded units over there if he goes in, but I guess killing a base is good as well, and if Flash takes too many of his units and his medevacs to go guard this, then maybe he can hit somewhere else as well, but actually, he's going to go ahead and boost right into the main base of Flash.
Yes, he is, and Flash coming in with his response team here, and frankly, I don't see Bbyong getting much done with this at all, except in the natural, which is doing the damage, because Flash only responded to one of those drops, not the second one. This one is eventually going to get cleaned up, but it is Hellbats, very slow moving, trying to take on a fast moving force, does get a few decent shots off here, but more workers have been killed here by Bbyong, and he has really managed to get his economy equalized. I mean, the amount of damage he actually did to the natural was huge here.
He's killed a lot of SCVs at this point.
Yeah.
That's a great job from Bbyong on those drops. And yeah, it actually really is. He's killing more and more SCVs right now. He's actually killed 32 this game.
He's getting a tank. He just got a tank out of nowhere, and he's going to get a medevac too. Like,
oh my god.
That's really strange. Like, Flash, I think, was worried about attacking his 3rd base, so he didn't want to send too many units back, but he underestimated the capability of that, and Bbyong's control was fantastic. 34 workers killed! 34!
Wow.
That was a brilliant drop, and so much wasted mining time in that natural, too.
Seriously, that was a big deal right there. So Bbyong playing a great game. He's actually stimming and running in right now to this now 4th base.
He's got to stim no matter what. He's going right into that siege line, and the PDDs helped a little bit there, but the siege tanks are melting. Flash with the evacuation. Flash with this drop. Siege tanks and Hellbats on top of the force. It actually almost clears up Bbyong's army. I think he's going to get the cleanup. What? Flash? What?
Wow. Wow.
What?
So Flash
was that?
Does kill off that army somehow, some way, but he lost his planetary, so does lose a mining base. This is a crazy slugfest right now.
Yeah, but Flash still has the island, which is not something that Bbyong took. And I understand not taking it because it's really great to take later in the game, right? It's like, oh, there's no safe expansion. But wait, there is. And this base, if you mine the space out early, then you give away the potential to use it later on. So, it was good for Bbyong, but, like, that army from Bbyong, especially considering Flash's tanks were still in siege, they're getting to siege by the time that Bbyong actually hit it, should have maybe not died as quickly as it did. And Flash, like, with that hot pickup, says, hey, you know what's really good to drop with Hellbats? I'm going to drop some tanks on your tanks. See how that one goes for you.
Tank-on-tank warfare, man. It's pretty sick. World of tanks going on in this StarCraft game.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, it's a crazy game, and I think especially so because Flash is switching into Banshees right now. He added 2 starports, and I thought he wanted to maybe go for BCs, but he lost so much economy to Bbyong's drop that maybe that changed his mind. He's like, no, I'll just add in these Banshees. But to be honest, when you're playing against Bio Tank instead of against Mech, the Banshees do everything the BCs were really wanting to do for you. It really helps you to break siege lines.
Yeah, Yeah, it also helps that they don't cost as much as a command center every time you build one. That's always good. And I think the Banshee decision is quite nice. I also love what Flash is doing with these Vikings. He's already picked off one drop. Oh, and he's going right into the island base, and he loses almost everything as he does it. But there are Marauders and a tank on the ground. So this scenario that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, well, you're not getting out, but neither are the SCVs either, is currently happening. And Flash is ferrying units over to his island to try and deal with it.
Well, he is dropping his own siege tanks here, but Marauders with almost 3-3 done, going to clean that up in a matter of seconds. The Banshees, though, will be the ones to clean up this island. Still, the drop, I thought, wasn't that bad from Bbyong, considering he killed off that many tanks and that many SCVs.
It was actually insane for Bbyong. It's 63 workers killed up to this point. Like, that was a huge, huge drop. It was expensive, definitely. And it actually puts a scary position into play where Flash does have this, like, really nice air force and also, like, a bazillion tanks. So it could maybe come back to bite Bbyong, but Byung's established his fourth now, so it seems like that was kind of worth it. I'd like to see some more Vikings out of Flash here, because Bbyong is insisting on these drops, and they're very pricey drops, because they're loaded with Marauders, too. So you can pick those off, that's brilliant. But Bbyong's Marauder-heavy army, there's 40 Marauders in it. Man, this reminds me of a long, long time ago in Wings of Liberty where we saw Pulp playing TVT. He would play this style. 3-3 is done, and these are only one armored units, so, I mean, this mech should melt to that many Marauders, really.
Yeah, you know, he's actually playing this beautifully, and I love that you point out Pulp, because he was one of the guys that really knew how to play bio against mech, and I love that Bbyong is setting up a switch into Sky Terran here. Yeah. He is not just going to stand these Marauders, but that's why he's not refilling his tanks right now. He's going to run around, get whatever he can done with these Marauders, and in the meantime, with the bank that's building up, switch into probably BCs of his own.
And that's a difficult switch to make for the reasons we spoke about earlier. The fact that those upgrades are... Oh! Bbyong losing actually quite a lot to that in that drop there, and not really doing too much damage, because this base is pretty much mined out anyway, so that was a bit impetuous from Bbyong. I think he's had a lot of success with these drops up to this point, and he thought maybe he could do it again. But he has pulled Flash's army out of position, and Bbyong looks to try and take on the planetary.
Well, he'll definitely snipe that planetary if there's not a bunch of tanks down there, but Flash realizes what's going on, moves back into position after that scan from Bbyong, and will be safe for now, but yeah, you know, more to your point, that drop in the natural, that was a little bit wasteful. I think Bbyong is maybe being too aggressive. What he needs to do is buy time for his switch into that Sky Terran composition.
And Bbyong might be forced to stim across this map here, because Flash has just said, to hell with this, I'm going, because I know I have a massive force here, and I also know where you were. You were across the other side of the map, and Flash gives him the slip. You know, usually you don't hear of the term stealth tank column, but Flash has managed to pull it off here, but he may have forced a base trade.
Oh my god, that many Marauders is going to clean up everything just so quickly. Flash starts to turn around and then turns around again, realizing no way he's going to save his base. These Marauders are going to demolish every building.
Base trade time, ladies and gentlemen. You could call this base trade TV, as we see the natural is under siege from both sides. Marauders and Marines in the main base, destroying the production. And, of course, a giant tank column, accompanied by the Air Force of Flash, is attacking the main base, the third base, the natural. So, it is certainly on. But I have a bit of a concern here, Artosis, because those are Marauders. They don't shoot up. Bbyong doesn't have a way to evacuate, and he has nowhere near enough Marines.
Oh my god, I can't believe Bbyong forgot the lay on your back upgrade. This is terrible.
What?
He's just every Marauder.
What?
This base trade getting absolutely crazy.
Oh my god, I don't believe it. Flash had the answer all along, in the form of 5 Banshees along with Ravens. He kills Bbyong's army. He loses his natural and his main for it, and pretty much all forms of production. But he's now camping the main of Bbyong. Now, Bbyong is behind supply-wise, but, I mean, where do we go from here?
Well, Bbyong is trying to just go into Sky Terran right now. He's really focusing heavily on some Banshees, Vikings, and Ravens. So if with his Ravens and Vikings he can win the Sky battle, his Banshees can theoretically clean this game up for him.
Yeah,
I just don't know if that's going to be something that he's able to do.
Yeah, can it be done? One has to wonder. Well, the PDDs will be going down here, so the remaining ground forces are going to be obliterated very, very easily. Oh, lifting command centers against that many Vikings. That's not going to go well for you, Bbyong. He loses one. A second one will certainly fall. Again, I think he is buying time, like you said, but he doesn't have the sky just yet. And he's about to have it. He's got a slight Raven lead now and a slight Viking lead. The air war begins. This is all or nothing for Bbyong here. He's going to make this sound. The Seekers. He's driving right into the middle. The Vikings going into the center. It doesn't quite get them. Bbyong gets out just in the nick of time. Kamikaze Vikings from Flash. But Bbyong now has the air lead.
Bbyong certainly does. He's going to be able to clean up absolutely everything here. As soon as those Banshees decloak or get in the range of some detection, he'll kill those as well. But Bbyong right now, let me check. He does have 2 Banshees, so he's actually going to be able to clean up these siege tanks as well. This is a crazy game.
This is insane. Already we've seen 2 great maps. We're seeing a third here. Flash tries to track down the remaining production. He sets 2 facilities on fire. He finds another mining base. There is, of course, one over here on the island. That will get dealt with, but Bbyong has managed to get the Banshees out. As you said, they're not well upgraded, but they're good enough to beat up siege tanks, and Flash is now being pushed back. What's Flash's mining situation looking like? He has an almost mined out island, and he's got this planetary fortress here.
Well, I guess he has a little bit of something here and there, but he needs, like, Thors. That's the finishing move from Flash, I guess, right? And he is making a couple Thors, and those Thors are going to do pretty well against just 2 Banshees. You definitely need a lot more Banshees against Thors. And these Vikings, of course, they're not going to stand a chance against the better mech units here of Flash.
No. Oh, what a lovely pick-off there from Flash. He actually gets a Banshee before it cloaks. Good fire from the Thor there with +3. That's pretty crazy. Landed Vikings coming in to kill this base, and kill it they will. I mean, they can get all the SCVs here without too much of a problem. He's going to kill the missile turrets so he can actually lift off again. In the meantime, Flash has elected to try and kill this base over here that Bbyong is currently mining from and attempting to produce units from as well. That's a CC down here, and Bbyong looks like he's going to want to land on top of those SCVs and gun them down without mercy.
Oh my god, look at the top right island right now as well, TotalBiscuit. He's building 6 barracks over there. My question is, when he makes the units from those barracks, how the hell is he going to get them off the island? He has no medevacs.
No, he does not. And does he even... I'm going to have to go to the structures tab here. I barely ever click this. It's T for those aspiring casters, by the way. Bbyong has no starport at all. He does still have a factory alive, although Flash is trying to kill it with a Hellion, so I don't know if that's going to carry on happening there. But yeah, you're right. You can't get them off the island. They are trapped. This is lost all over again.
Well, Bbyong has a big bank, so I guess at least he can fill up his island with Marines and Marauders, and it's not going to be broken very easily.
Oh.
What do we even have from Flash right now? Okay, it's 12 SCVs to 16 with Flash in the lead there. Flash definitely has the better army, but he doesn't have any real way to break this island. I mean, especially with that many Vikings, he just can't break that island. This game, I'm getting some chills over this, but this game may actually stabilize and go on.
Bbyong with the standard cliffside landed Viking harass here on the 4th base, taking out the starport and the refinery very, very slowly here. The only time where ever lifting against a Viking is a good idea. But here's Flash. The one thing that Bbyong forgot to do on the island was build a turret. This Banshee's killing the economy of Bbyong.
Oh my god, he's got to get some Marines out here and deal with that Banshee ASAP. Losing SCVs right now is so brutal. You need them to be able to build these depots and everything. We actually do have auto turrets coming over from Flash. That's a huge move before all these units are out. Those are going to be able to deal a ton of damage.
Finally, the Banshee goes down, but there's only 4 SCVs remaining here for Bbyong. How many orbital commands does Bbyong have, you might ask? He's only got 2, so he's not going to be dropping any big mule hammers, more like mule toothpicks at this point. And Bbyong finds a lone barracks over to the side here. Flash is going to siege from the main of Bbyong. I think he should, he should be able to hit that production.
Yeah, he's going to force a couple barracks to lift off here, but again, he has no medevac to get over there all the way. And even if he did, with the amount of Vikings out, Bbyong can defend that island for a very long time. And he does have a command center over across the map as well that I think Flash just has no idea about.
Oh, Bbyong found a medevac and then lost it. Oh, Flash got a pickup. And there's units coming in. There's no turret. There's no defense. 2 tanks are here. There are marauders stimming forward though to try and deal with it. The tanks are just in range to fight. It goes down. The Vikings find the force, but the Thors are there as well. The PDDs holding right now to keep the Ravens alive. The Vikings being shot from the sky. The Ravens going down as well. Bbyong pulls back.
I am getting like the most nerd chills I've had in a very long time. He's killed all the Ravens. He still has a Banshee, which means that Banshee could theoretically go over there and clean up because there's no orbital command for Flash. He has no mobile detection right now.
No, he does not. He is relying on that missile turret in the mineral line. There's also one here, which I like the placement of as well. Flash Aura is very liberal with his missile turrets, and I love that from him. Bbyong has taken so much economic damage, but he is still alive. He's actually establishing barracks over to the right-hand side of the map, which actually are going to be found here by Flash there with the Cloak Banshee momentarily. But there is the space over to the left-hand side here for Bbyong as well that is currently mining and has so far gone undetected. And Bbyong now is attempting to pick off refineries by the looks of it.
Anything he can kill at this point. Anything you kill is huge when it's a game like this. Both of them, it's 54 supply against 54 supply at almost 40 minutes. One guy's on the island and a hidden base. The other guy's at his original third that he lost like 3 times. This is the craziest scenario. Any damage you do could be the one that breaks the camel's back.
I feel sorry for anyone that's not watching this series. This is the craziest TBT we have seen in a very long time, and this is the 3rd map in a best-of-7 series, which is why I'm hoping it goes to Game 7, but Flash is definitely still in this, but weirdly enough, so is Bbyong. And as you said, it's kind of calmed down, it's sort of stabilizing, but Flash is about to mine out here. He's actually going to have to take another base.
Yeah, and he had to build another command center for that, funnily enough, because you can't lift off a planetary fortress. In the meantime, he is trying to push back over and maybe hurt Bbyong a little bit, looking for anything he can, a few depots here and there. You know, whatever there is.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Flash still scouting and actually finds one of these hidden barracks from Bbyong.
Yeah, this is actually a big deal, more so than you might think in this situation. If you look at it, it's like, oh, well, it's killing supply depots, that doesn't matter. It does, because right now, Bbyong's biggest resource that he has to worry about is actually space. If he's going to build anything on this island, he's going to be very limited. And losing supply depots really right now is going to supply block you. It's going to allow Flash to get ahead in supply in a very close, low economic game. Last thing you really want to have happen there.
Well, right now, we do have Flash landing his command center over here. The Vikings do find it. The Thor actually putting a lot of damage on that Bbyong cannot afford right now. But Bbyong is hitting those 2 barracks on the right-hand side. He can start producing some units out of those. He's got that full economy base hidden over on the left side of the map, still not found. So his production is starting to really pick up.
It really is. Who the hell is ahead? I don't know.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, I can't call it.
They're both ahead in different ways, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now Flash still has a better army for sure. It's a very scary army. It can't be touched by Bbyong at the moment. But Bbyong with these 2 bases going, and the fact that Flash doesn't know that, whereas Bbyong has the information of how many bases Flash has, that's pretty huge. And that's going to allow Bbyong to eventually, I think, macro up enough that he can bust this really tiny mech army.
If Bbyong was able to win in this game, not only would that be brilliant, because that means we're guaranteed at least 5 maps in this series, which makes me very excited indeed, but it also means that he's won one of the craziest TVTs that has happened in years, and he kept his head. Like, what level of decision-making do you need to be able to survive a game this insane?
This is like almost, I mean, it's definitely decision-making, but it's almost like a gut instinct as well, because how many games have they played that looked like this? Probably 0.
Yeah.
Probably exactly 0 games on Waystation looked anything like this for these guys. So, you know, you really have to improvise all game long in a situation like this.
You do. And this does make me worried for Bbyong, because, I mean, Flash is a master of that. But I shouldn't be scared for Bbyong. He's got a supply lead. He has dealt with this like an absolute champion. And after losing the first 2 games, you'd think he might be a little bit rattled, but he's been put in a situation where only the coolest of heads could possibly prevail, and maybe even just the slightly crazy heads as well.
You got to be crazy to win a game like this, no question about that. Look at Bbyong's island base right now. He really, as you said, the space is a resource. He is trying his absolute best to just fit everything that he needs. He's starting to ferry out his units as well. And the thing is, I think that Flash might be spread a bit too thin to stop this big stemmed-in Marauder attack that we're likely to see.
Yeah, the Raven count of Flash is high, though, and his energy is very high indeed. If Flash can get a good fight and get the PDDs where they need to be, then I have a feeling that Bbyong actually loses that engagement.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. PDDs are gigantic against Marauders, and you know, this is a lot of Marauders, 19, but he has 3 Ravens, which is a possible, let's see how much energy they have. Well, he can throw down a lot of PDDs with this. He can get down a good 3, 4 PDDs, maybe even 6 by the time he gets there.
Interestingly enough, the Banshees saw the medevacs but didn't see the actual units themselves, which is a very odd situation. Bbyong loading up half his army into medevacs, half not. There is only 1 missile turret down here. The Thor's kind of out of position to defend this base here. He's gonna go for it. He's gotta go for it. This will be the fight that decides this game. The drop right on top of the tanks right there. The PDD's put into position. Bbyong sort of a bit of indecision there. He needs to pull back. Needs to get out of range of that tank line. He may have to evacuate there. He does some damage, and out he goes with the remainder of that army, and Flash takes the supply lead once again.
Absolute madness. He does pick off quite a few tanks, but those Banshees super powerful. As you said, the PDDs, those were the real heroes there. He threw down a total of 5 there.
Yeah.
So those Marauders were barely doing damage after killing the initial few tanks.
Decent position for the PDDs to be in for the long haul as well, because PDDs do actually last a very, very long time, and they will regenerate their energy. Maybe not the best position. If an assault kind of goes around here and is hitting this mineral line, then the PDDs are not really going to protect it too well. But otherwise, like, there's no way that Bbyong can kind of assault down this ramp. Like, that's impossible. He can't kill anything.
TotalBiscuit, for like the 9th time this game, I'm getting like some serious sick nerd chills because I'm realizing something. This started out close positions on Way Station, but this might end up far positions on Way Station in a macro game. This is an actual possibility. Still, neither of them can kill each other. They're cutting. Look at their supplies. 150, 137.
I mean, back in the lead supply-wise. I mean, his economy is actually very, very good. He's building another command center here.
Oh my god, yeah. See, he's expanding up towards these bases that no one has taken. I've never seen the close spots on Way Station end up with the far spots actually taking his bases, but realistically with Flash, what's his next base? It's either the natural or the main base in the bottom right.
Madness. Absolute madness. If esports needed saving, and I don't believe that it does, then this game would be there to do just that. This is a rare treat indeed to get to see.
Everyone should be watching this. Guys, get out there, spread the word that the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational is on, and Bbyong and Flash are having a TVT for the ages right now. Absolutely everything has happened in this game, and anything can happen going forward. I have zero idea about who's going to end up winning this.
I would agree. Please do get out there and tell absolutely everybody. Use the hashtag SanDisk if you don't mind. That would be great. That'll, of course, allow you to see the rest of the conversation that's going on and join in with the hype train that is really building up steam over this series already. Please let people know it's happening. This is... We said it's never happened before, right? A best of 7 TB2 with Flash has never happened before, and it's delivered so far in every conceivable way.
It's madness. I'm just like overwhelmed with joy at what I'm watching here. Look at this. Bbyong is adding starports again. So it's like it's back to Biomech, and he's going, you know what? That idea I had earlier on about switching to Sky Terran, let me give that try number 2 at 50 minutes. You know, this is
the drops.
Crazy.
Bbyong going for it, and he picks off 3 tanks and then gets out with maybe a medevac's worth of units lost. I like that. Here's the thing, like Bbyong, his strategy right now is let's expand all over the map. He has expanded to Flash's old island base, which never got mined out because, oh wow, thought about next level strategy. Here's what Bbyong does, right? 20 minutes ago, he clears out that base with landed Vikings, knowing that in 20 minutes' time, those resources will be sorely needed. But here we go. Byung's trying to engage again, and PDD's saving the day for Flash, who equalizes supply.
You know, that is a scary army right now to have to deal with. That many PDDs, a ton of Cloaked Banshees in there. And don't forget, those Cloaked Banshees have +3 attack.
Yep.
Those guys are machine guns. They're crazy. So he is just going to walk around, start eliminating things, but Bbyong definitely can outmaneuver him. His army is fast and mobile.
Yes, it is. He will need to strike true. He will need to strike where the PDDs are not, more to the point. And Flash, if anything, has demonstrated a mastery of positioning. He plays chess in this matchup, and he plays really, really well. Somehow he plays chess without being able to see half his opponent's pieces, and he still manages to make the right moves.
That is StarCraft for you, man. It is chess where you block your pieces, your opponent can't see them. But Flash, he knows where these pieces are right now. He is walking up, and in fact, where is he going to check out? Not going towards that main base. Instead, just kind of zoning in the map while he's scouting with these Hellions.
Yeah, he needs to know exactly where his opponent's army is, where his opponent is mining, and what kind of situation he can set up. Because, of course, he has to kind of choose a position to fight for two reasons. One, PDDs, and two, siege tanks. And he's got to make sure that position is correct.
Well, he is trying to find out where they are. Had that watchtower for a moment. Sees a big Bbyong army headed his way. Does siege up, and Bbyong, of course, has to pull out because of that. Now, will Bbyong just split up his army and try for a flank? Or will he go ahead and try a counterattack?
I would like a counterattack, honestly. There's so little left. I mean, Flash is only mining on one base. The planetary's mined out right now, and Flash's army can really be only in one place at a time. The risk, of course, is that as soon as Flash even gets a whiff of that, he commits onto one of Bbyong's bases, which Bbyong will not be able to hold.
Yeah, anywhere that Flash attacks, he should be able to kill, but Bbyong should be able to attack one or two places at that same time and probably kill them off as well.
Nice little Blue Flame Hellion run by here by Flash, who is doing some more economic damage to his opponent. Look at this. 113 workers killed versus 114 workers killed in this game thus far. Oh, Bbyong's going for it yet again. The Ravens are not quite there yet. He charges in and kills about 4 or 5 tanks, then gets out. Those are the moves Bbyong needs right now. He extends his army supply lead, but the Banshees are wreaking terrible vengeance here on the Marauders.
Well, they are for now, and he's going to have to stim and get out of there, losing quite a few units. Doesn't want to lose those medevacs especially, but let's not forget that Sky Terran army that Bbyong's been working on, it's pretty much complete. He has 4 Ravens against Flash's 3, and 20 Vikings against just 15 of Flash.
They will call this the Great Terran Economic Crash of 2014. Over 100,000 resources worth of units have been lost this game up to this point. Flash has lost a lot less, but of course he has been playing mech, so it is to be expected. Current army compositions, a huge Skyforce here for Bbyong that he's been building up in the background here. He's adding the Ravens in. He has Banshees of his own. He still has medevacs to be able to ferry those 24 Marauders around. He has the army supply lead, although not by much, because of course, Bbyong, he's gone back up to 60. He had 5 SCVs. Remember this. He had 5. He has 60 now.
It's crazy, man. And Flash moving for it right now. Bbyong did just transfer a bunch of SCVs up to the north. This is a location that Bbyong really needs to hold if he wants to win this game. He can't go back to just the island. He needs to hold where his starports are if he's going to win here.
Yep, he knows he's going to have to sacrifice one of those bases at least. He could at least lift this one because it's only a tank working on it. But now he's going to fight. The PDDs are up and the air war begins on both sides. None of them wanting to commit to a Seeker missile here. They both want to go full on with the air war. And that is an air war that Bbyong can certainly win. There are a lot of Cloak Banshees here. A scan goes down, which eliminates the Cloak Banshees of Bbyong. But Bbyong has the air superiority here. But Banshees are heading in, and they're trying to kill the economic line of Bbyong. Another scan goes down. Flash needs to move out of range, and he knows it. Does Bbyong have another scan? I don't think he does.
No, right now he doesn't. He has to lift off, losing his SCVs once again. His starport's under attack. Bbyong still with a vastly superior air army, but that Thor and those siege tanks can do a lot of damage. Landing all his Vikings right now, going after this army of Flash, but the Widow Mine's coming up and they have
focus fire! Bbyong focuses fire on the Widow Mines. He kills the entire army with landed Vikings. He saves the starport base.
Oh my god, and he's even going after these Banshees. Kills one of them off, kills the second one off. Bbyong holds for now and is almost twice the supply of Flash.
What? A game of madness between both players. Flash rebuilds his armory at the 57-minute mark and is building now pure Widow Mine because he doesn't have anything else he really can do. Bbyong's mined out the island. He's evacuating all his SCVs and medevacs along with the Marauders. He says, this island's done, folks. On to the next one. Let's find another base. But Flash is back. He's found the starports. He's engaging with the tanks. He kills one. He sets up Widow Mines to try and kill the Banshees. But Flash GG's! GG's! Bbyong brings it back!
Oh my god. That game was so good. I can't even believe it. If that was the end of the day, this day was amazing. That game had absolutely everything. That was easily by far the best TVT that we've seen in at least a year.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean,
I can't even think of a
right
TVT
now,
I've ever seen that I've liked more than that one. That had everything in it. Absolute madness.
Oh my god, that was absolutely mind-blowing. Crank comments in Axiom staff chat is like, 3 set is good. Yes, Crank, 3 set is good. That's how I would sum up an hour of insanity from these guys.
Dude, I had no idea how that was going to end. Just crazy. An amazing comeback, an amazing play by both sides. Fantastic game. Probably going to be the game of the tournament right there, but you know what? I think I've said that twice already, so we'll see going forward, man.
Just beautiful. I'm going to ask the players if they need a break, because I think they probably do. We obviously do, but I want to ask the players how long they're going to need. And
it's fair. That game has to tire you out. No question. Just wow. Just wow. Guys, get out. Spread the word about the SHOUTCraft Invitational from SanDisk, an amazing sponsor to be able to help us put this on and give some amazing games. A best of 7 with Flash in it is not disappointing.
No, it's not. We're 3 games in to a best of 7, and it's already the series of the tournament. And we've still got maybe 4 more maps in it.
Oh, it's a possibility. Like, you can't just say someone's going to close it out from here.
Okay, Bbyong asks for 3 minutes. We'll give them 5. I think that's entirely fair. Let them go and get a drink and collect their thoughts. Because this is the series of a lifetime. We're coming back after the break, folks, for Game 4 of this best of 7. Please do go on Twitter, talk about this tournament. There is a hashtag we're using called SanDisk. If you click that hashtag, you'll see what everyone else is saying about this tournament. Get in on that conversation. And of course, please do thank SanDisk for giving us this. They've given us a once-in-a-lifetime series. That's at SanDisk. Their social media guys I know watch this tournament. They've been replying to everybody who's been sending their thanks. And of course, this is their first time investing in esports. And I really hope we're giving them a great first impression. Oh, wow, what a series. We're going to be back after the break, folks. My name is TotalBiscuit.
And I'm Artosis.
See you in 5 for yet more insanity. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. There is still so much to show you. Such wonders you're about to experience here.
Oh my god. I am, like, still kind of reeling. I had to get up and walk around a little bit after that TVT, man. It was so sick. It was... I literally cannot remember a TVT that was better than that.
No.
Absolute madness. It's 2-1, Flash in the lead. This is an amazing best of 7 right now.
It really, really is. So amazing, in fact, that the boss himself, Mike Morhaime, is watching and tweeting about how crazy that series was. Oh man, he is, I've got to admit, like, I've met him several times. He is one of the most passionate individuals I've ever had the pleasure to sit down and talk with.
Oh yeah.
And in that kind of position, I guess it's got to be a little bit difficult to be so supportive of a game that is kind of niche. You know, it's an incredibly hardcore game in a genre that doesn't really have that many games in it right now. And yet, his support for StarCraft 2 is completely and totally unwavering. And that is really heartening to see. It is a passion for him.
He's a smart guy, and he knows what's good. You know, if anyone tells you StarCraft isn't the best esport, direct him to that last game. You can't get better entertainment than what we're seeing here today.
No. There are certainly team-based esports out there, but when it comes down to a one-on-one, a single combat, a duel to the death, StarCraft 2 is it right there. It is the game that just brings out some of the most incredible experiences. And hopefully we're going to have many more of those, because this is map 4 of a best-of-7 series between this guy right here, who may be my new favorite guy after that game, to the south position here on Merry-Go-Round. In the orange trunks playing Terran, CJ enters Bbyong.
And his opponent in the top left of our map, putting on some amazing mech play in all of these games, is KT Rolster Flash.
And he is playing so very, very well. And he's going command center first, as it turns out here on Merry-Go-Round.
All right, I'm a little bit surprised to see this. Before going in this, I was thinking to myself, what are these guys going to do? And I came up in my head with aggression. I was like, you know what? I think this is a good map to turn on some aggression, but Flash saying, nope, I'm going to go ahead and play that macro game.
And that's an interesting thing to do, considering his opponent did go gas first. So I am intrigued to see how this works out.
Well, you know, I generally like gas first against command center first builds. I feel like it's really hard for the command center first guy to actually block against every possible little attack. You know, there could be like a medevac drop with some Marines coming. There could be Hellions coming. There could be a Banshee coming in. And it's hard to say what you're fighting against. And you're just going to... All your tech is a bit slower. All your units are a little bit less. It's a tough one. But, you know, this is what Flash made his career off of, is going for fast expansions, being able to hold anything.
Oh, we've seen that in this series already. You know, you shouldn't be able to hold that 2-Rax Reaper play unscouted with the single Reaper into the reactor, but he did, and he didn't just hold it, he crushed it. He crushed it, and it was incredible to watch. But this is going to be a step up in difficulty from that. Yeah, it means he gets 2 orbitals out very quickly, but he knows that there's a lot of things that could come off the back of this, and there's a nasty little combination of units that you can bring out of these 3 production facilities. Like, is it going to be a medevac with a drop? Is it going to be a Banshee, which it looks like it very well might be here?
Yeah, it's looking like it's probably going to be that same build that we saw last game as an opening for Bbyong, somehow deciding that he can do a better job of it this time. But with that bunker up, could be a little bit harder. Now, he does have a Reaper with it, which means the Marines are going to have to split up a little bit, and he's really taxing the multitasking here of Flash.
Well, Flash's multitasking is god tier, so, you know, that's certainly a challenging thing to try and do, but Bbyong's control is great as well, and incredibly fast. The Hellion slips by the bunker, having taken some damage. The Reaper is dead, however. However, we do have, wow, it's a Hellion versus a Marine, which is gonna just go in favor of that Hellion, but there is a second Marine to back that up. So far, the aggression hasn't done too much economic damage. It's picked off a worker. And those workers want revenge for their fallen comrade there. They almost lined up, which is not what you want to do.
Well, this Hellion actually deals a lot of damage in here. He got 3 kills and put quite a bit of damage on all these SCVs. So that's actually something that can really play a factor later on when the Banshee flies in and starts trying to kill some of them that are hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long for that Banshee to get over in this position either. In fact, like any position on Merry-Go-Round is quite short for a Banshee. But we do see the engineering bay coming down for Flash, and there's going to be a missile turret. This map for Banshees, even though the air distance is small, the space at the back of the natural is maybe the least I've seen on any map, actually. It's really pretty bad.
Yeah, you know, those walls, you just can't get past them, so it's not like you can go fly behind and hide. It's a pretty narrow area to get in, but let's see what he can get done. He does bring the Banshee into the natural and kills 1 SCV, but takes a turret shot as well.
You do at least have that south position with this unpassable terrain here. You've got a bit of an escape route out of there, but you can't really commit. Because what you're going to do, you're going to fly into the main and probably get shot down, right? So you're going to pick maybe at the south there, and Flash knows that as well, so he will be able to keep an eye on that. And so far, it's just a little bit of damage here and there. The cloak has been activated, but Flash was on top of that already, and then gets the scan, which, I mean, it's going to need one more shot, and maybe it was 2 more shots. Oh, he scans again. He wants rid of that. Good lord. In the meantime, an engagement that is not going in Flash's favor at all, as Bbyong is able to drive away those Hellions. But so far, not crippling economic losses. Not at all. Only 2 workers killed by Bbyong. 2 scans wasted, of course.
No, certainly. This is going completely fine for Flash. If you look at that CV count, 29 to 35. Bbyong just finishing up his command center. The orbital not yet done at his natural. So I would say that Flash is pretty happy with where he's at.
Yeah, he's definitely
Bbyong, though, yeah, he's going for Blue Flame Hellion, TotalBiscuit.
Well, if first you don't succeed when it comes to harassing mineral lines, then load up the big daddy of mineral line harassment, that being the Blue Flame, the Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade. It can certainly do the job there. And Flash's builds, he seems to be right now playing Marine Tank Banshee. Of course, Blue Flame Hellion can shut that down pretty hard, but again, it all comes down to positioning.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if he's actually going to walk across the map and do an attack. It looks like he will be staying on Biotank this time, but just overall, when I see someone who went for a fast expansion, focus on Starport Factory and 1 racks making units, I always think about safety, because it's really hard to break someone who has a little bit of everything in TBT. So I think Flash is just kind of setting himself up for, you know, maybe a timing attack off of 2 bases, but definitely not going to move out too early here and risk his army.
No, I don't think so. No, he really shouldn't be doing that at any point. He knows he has an economic lead. Obviously, Bbyong has managed to kind of catch up on that, but honestly, Flash has been mining for longer. He's got a good infrastructure at home. He knows there's still the possibility that a Banshee will sneak in at some point, so he's being very active with his patrols here with this Viking-Raven combo.
Yeah, you know, that's it's a good thing to do if he can just stop any losses to those Banshees. It is a very expensive tech route to go. And of course, the counter cloak is something that we've seen since the beginning, really, of StarCraft 2. Your opponent goes Cloak Banshee. Hey, why not Cloak Banshee in return?
Well, that Marine, as much as he might rest in pieces, or rip in pepperonis, as you might like to say, he did see the army coming across the map, which gives Flash a bit of a warning. He's got a bunch of tanks unsieged here. Now he'll siege them since he's got his Marine wall up. In the meantime, though, a Blue Flame Hellion drop from Bbyong hits the main mineral line and kills about 8 workers. Obviously denies a bunch of mining. Flash coming back here. He might even have to try and drop an auto turret, but no, he's gonna have to pull back. Unfortunately, no opportunity for Bbyong to actually counterattack by the looks of it.
And you know what? During all of this harassment, Flash actually had a 9-kill Banshee in the natural of Bbyong. So, I mean, this is pretty nice. It's really both of them going blow for blow. It's 38 SCVs to 37 after all of that.
What?
So, kind of a crazy game thus far, and they've really switched positions from the last time with Flash going for this biotank play. With no 3rd command center quite yet, whereas Bbyong, he's about to finish his 3rd command, and looks like he's going for mech.
Yes, he is, and Flash has got an opportunity here to hit the composition before it gets to the point where it's too difficult to break, and also to try and keep Bbyong's Hellions on his side of the map. That is a nasty lineup, though. Can Bbyong get the shots that he needs? The answer right now, for the moment anyway, is no, but he is trying to engage regardless.
Well, he needs to pick off these Marines as much as possible. It'll help his Banshee out quite a bit.
Definitely.
And, in fact, I think he is going to chase Flash away for now. Flash has decided this might be a little bit too cost inefficient to keep on
I don't
going.
like that. What he is doing, though, is auto-turret harass on the main mineral line, which has driven all the SCVs away. It takes a long time to kill auto-turrets with Blue Flame Hellions, especially when only one's firing at a time. And in the meantime, wow! Bbyong pulled back to deal with that, and Flash goes into the natural and sieges up.
Oh my god, a huge move from Flash here. This is going to be really hard to break for Bbyong. Does throw down some secret missiles, and will they hit? Yeah, it looks like they will. A nice split there, though, from Flash.
When have you ever seen auto turrets bait out that many units. I mean, it's crazy for the amount that Bbyong pulled back to deal with this, and he gave his natural up in the process. I was surprised to see that, but Flash turned around after realizing, wow, you have all your Hellions there? Really? I think I can go for this. And he was totally right. He absolutely can. Bbyong is losing key tech structures in the process. The armory is going down.
He killed even like 7 supply depots, so Bbyong is sitting here really supply capped right now. Gonna have to spend his entire mineral bank to even create any more units. So he's got to be kicking himself for that overreaction to the auto turrets. Flash really playing him like a fiddle this game. But
yes,
hold on, we actually have a...
Oh, the hits! The second hits! Those were big ones indeed. That's a lot of SCVs that went down there, and Bbyong looking for the big counter plays. Didn't quite do enough damage, though. He needs more of that.
Well, you know, he got him back to the same amount, both at 37 SCVs after that drop. But, you know, having a natural versus not having a natural is much more important than that.
That is true. What's the point of having 3 command centers when you have a third of a mineral line left to use them on? That's not good. And this is a contain. If you've ever seen a contain, this is one right here. 5 tanks. A bunch of Marines and Marauders behind it. They're pretty badly injured, though, so and if Flash gets collapsed very badly and this contain gets smashed very effectively, then Bbyong certainly has an opportunity to push right back out again.
It's hard to imagine such a thing, but we do have another drop, a Hellbat drop going
Hellbat
into Flash's main. Nah, it doesn't really do that much, though.
No, not a huge amount. He got a couple of shots off, got a couple of SCVs out of that, but it's unfortunately, Bbyong does not have infinite Hellbat drops. Like, he's got maybe infinite Hellbats, but not infinite Hellbat drops. Those medevacs are a precious resource right now when he's sitting on 1 base and only mining 2 gas. And, of course, you want to maintain your tank count to make sure that Flash doesn't overwhelm you.
Well, you know, yeah, I feel like he's pretty overwhelmed right now. What is the plan from Bbyong here? He's just making a ton of Hellbats, some siege tanks, and Banshees, and that's going to be pretty hard to break, especially since Flash now has medevacs over, healing up all these Marines at his contain. But he's starting to push the siege tanks back a little bit, at least.
Yeah, thankfully that Banshee was just out of range of the missile turret there, but what I'm more worried about is that streak of red across the map, man. The reinforcements, medevacs are coming into play, more Marauders, more reinforcing tanks here as well. A nice stim up here from Flash to eliminate that key linchpin tank up to the top corner.
That's rough. Every unit right now is so important for Bbyong. He's down by a good 40 to 50 supply, and... this is, I think that when he tries to break out of here, he's just not going to be cost efficient enough, and he's probably going to have to GG, because not only does he have to break here, but then he has to kill another army as big as his army, because Flash has so many more units at the moment.
He really, really does, and I just, in a mirror, how? Like, you would have to do so much damage, and Flash is already even aware of this drop. As it comes out of the base, he says, no, you're not leaving. Absolutely not. You are not going anywhere. I'm going to starve you. This is a good old-fashioned siege.
Well, it looks like he's trying to take this as his third base. His natural now is his third base, which is kind of funny. You never really see moves like this, but I can't see this really ending well, right? That's way too much surface area for him to actually guard, especially when all of his units are in the main base.
Yeah, I think so, because if he does line up, and you really can't get a great lineup at the best of times, the tanks only kind of barely reach just beyond the orbital there, then you leave your natural exposed, and you've got to hold that, because otherwise all these units down here just roll right up the main ramp, and then that's GG, game over.
Well, right now with him kind of hemming-hawing on this ferrying, Flash, well, hold on, here we go. He's decided that he's just going to go for it. I don't know if he's going to be able to break through, though.
Well, he did tank quite a lot there. The PDDs go down. The tanks are now in position here for Bbyong. Flash brings in reinforcements, though, and he's going to try and collapse on top of the tanks from the north. He gets 1, he gets 2, 3 down as well, and that's not happening. GG. Flash goes up 3 games to 1 in yet another fantastic performance.
Indeed, Flash is playing so well, showing that he doesn't have to go mech. He can play the biotank style as well, setting up that great contain, and Bbyong just never able to recover.
Just beautiful. My Terran heart does a flutter after watching this series so far. And, I mean, this is on the way to being a 4-1, which makes it sound, honestly, a lot less close than it really is. I mean, it is actually really, really close. I think that game wasn't, but everything else has been...
Yeah, it has been. Like, these have been really down and dirty. Both players really fighting for every inch in every game. Definitely the most one-sided game so far.
Yeah.
And even though, like, for instance, Flash could win this and end the series, a 4-1, like, sounds just wrong for how close these two players have been.
Yeah, definitely. It's Bbyong has been playing out of his mind as well. Just Flash has been slightly better, except in that last game where just things kind of went horribly wrong. And really, does it all come back to the failure to get damage done early on? I think surely it has to. I mean, Flash basically got away with Command Center first.
Yeah, he really didn't do much at all. He tried his best. He did some pretty good harassment with that Hellion, but at the end of the day, Flash had enough to stop it and then just hit that really nice timing up into the natural when Bbyong overreacted to that auto turret harass.
Yeah, and it was an overreaction in a really big way, and it wasn't even a good overreaction. Like, it was actually a bungle. He really did bungle that pretty badly, because they ended up in a position where there was like one Hellion actually shooting, and everything else was stuck behind it trying to get at them, which was just silly. You know, it was a micro mistake.
Yeah, it certainly was. So, Bbyong got to be kicking himself a little bit, but you know what? He's going to stay calm. He's going to keep playing his best, because he has to know he still has the possibility of winning this, especially after game number 3.
Yes, I think he certainly does. And I hope he takes it all the way to Game 7. I really, really do. Because this series, it should be savored. It should go on for many hours. We could just end the cast right there. It's like, Zest Hero, sorry, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow. You can't follow that one up. I'm sorry. You Protoss.
Too much epic for one day. Come on.
Indeed.
Well, our next map going to be Overgrowth, and you know what? This is like a pretty standard map. There's nothing too fancy about it. I guess there's the gold base that could be taken. There's those big ridges to actually try to go up and attack, so the later the game gets, the more half-mappy it's going to look.
Yep, and we might go to late game once again, but with Flash with a 2-game lead, is this when he busts out the cheddar?
Definitely could be. I was actually expecting that in the last game, but now is as good a time as any.
Yeah, I think so. You got your 2-map lead. Not only that, but of course you then reset the pool and pretty much get your pick of the litter there. And since you're on match point, you can pick whatever map you're most confident on. So, I mean, that could be fantastic for him going into that game. And my mind is frazzled. I just set the scoreboard to 7 apiece. It's like, well, that's wishful thinking. It's there it is. That's the button I was looking for. Good God, this series is so crazy. All right, folks, here we go. Overgrowth will be the destination here. Potentially the final destination. Hopefully not the final destination. I certainly hope not. I want to see some good old fighting spirit from Bbyong here, I think. He's to the southwest position. He's in the orange trunks, and he is playing Terran for CJ Entus. He's down 2 games. He certainly needs to pull it back here, but we all know he's capable.
And his opponent in the top right, best player from StarCraft 1 today and a couple days ago, looking like the best player in StarCraft 2 possibly as well, KT Rolster Flash.
Certainly. Can Bbyong bring it back? Or will it be his Heartbreak Ridge? I hope not.
Well, you know, I don't know if you're meaning to do it, but in the last 2 minutes, you have said the names of like 9 different Brood War maps, like Heartbreak Ridge and Destination and Fighting Spirit. I don't know if you're meaning it, but it's giving me flashbacks to other great Flash games. Flashbacks. Oh, wow.
There you go. See, you're even starting to do it now. It's just how it has to be. We've got to bring the puns out for this one.
Well, we have a gas first from Bbyong. So it looks like he wants to maybe do a Banshee build again here. See if that works out. It hasn't really been doing it yet against Flash.
No,
Flash's defense has been pretty stellar.
Yeah, it has. And if you are down to your potentially, well, it absolutely is your last map. If you don't win this, you are down to the bronze match. Which is, I mean, it's still it's good enough, right? You know, you get to play the bronze match, maybe taking 3rd place in a really stacked tournament. But this is like Bbyong's chance to really prove himself in an individual tournament, which he has yet to do. You know, I mean, we're talking about the same guy who lost to A-Bomb. I know, he got pretty beaten up by the Irishman there, so that's not really a crowning achievement in your career, even if you are ripping it up in Pro League.
That's true, and he's, you know, that's got to dig at him, because yes, Pro League for players on these old Kespa teams, like, that is the most important thing for them.
Yeah.
But deep down, personally, every single StarCraft player wants to win the individual leagues, because, you know, that's where they really show their mettle. That's where they say, hey, I'm the best. It's not necessarily my team, but I am playing better than everyone. And everyone has enough ego to appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't think there's even the lowliest B-teamer whose sole purpose is to, 1, wash dishes, and 2, allow Flash to beat him up for the 100th time just to perfect a particular strategy. He still wants that. In fact, maybe he wants it more than most. And a player like Bbyong, who is just starting to really get recognition, this would be a tournament that would catapult him into the real spotlight, you know, the casual viewers, as opposed to just the hardcore guys that knew him before he was cool. We're talking about real fame and fortune there. But Flash wants to deny that from happening, because Flash wants his own fame and fortune. He's not satisfied with mere Brood War victories. He wants one here. Brilliant control here from Flash, but a slip-up allows Bbyong to take 2 Marines there with that Hellion.
Well, the pretty good harassment so far here from Bbyong, but you know what? That Hellion's going to die if he goes in again, so might dodge that a little bit. Actually, waits for the second one to come in. Some like very nice micro going down.
Good focus fire, though, from Flash. Oh, another one goes down, but that will have to pull back. He was hoping, of course, to ambush Flash, maybe get a good lineup and take all 3 Marines out, although he is... This is precision here, and he might be able to get that, but no. Flash has got the Hellions out, so... What a cool little micro battle to start this off.
You know, once again, it's one of these situations where if you get to kill off some of the Marines, that definitely does help with the Banshee, since it's hard to cover everything with turrets. But Flash is going to do his darndest to cover everything with turrets. Already throwing up a couple of them with that eBay being finished, making some Vikings as well, realizing that Bbyong wants to get the early damage in.
Yes, that he does, and it is something he has failed to do up to this point, and this Banshee is, of course, going to get spotted, and Bbyong knew that. He was going to fly right across the Xel'Naga Tower anyway, so that is something he was prepared for. Maybe he was thinking, oh, maybe I get a Marine out of this, and in fact, he is going to get a Marine out of it. There it is.
Well, in comes this Viking, and with the turrets up, he's going to have to run away and eventually cloak, but doesn't look like he's going to start out with very much damage. Has to be a little bit frustrating for Bbyong. You know, he's such a strong Banshee user that normally he gets a decent amount of kills, but against Flash today, it's no dice.
You've got to ask why Flash is, 1, so unflappable, and 2, so uncrackable right now in this matchup. There have been good harassment attempts from Bbyong, but usually they've been those kind of drops that are going to get something done regardless of what happens, because you're dropping like 4 Blue Flame Hellbats into a mineral line, which can't really fail to at least do something. But the kind of precision harassment, the surgical harassment you would get from a Banshee, is the sort of thing that Bbyong, as you said, excels in, and yet is getting just nowhere with right now.
It is rough. You know, it's okay to just kind of have Banshee tech throughout the game, especially considering that game 3 that we saw. Banshees were quite important several times.
Certainly.
But when you skip your command center being so early to make them, it definitely does add up. And we see once again, it's like the exact same supplies from before, where Flash is just up by about 6 to 8 supply, and there's not a lot Bbyong can do about it right now.
No, there really isn't. And Bbyong is taking his expansion a heck of a lot later. This expansion for Flash has been established for a good long time. The income difference is there. The Mule Hammer, of course, has just been dropped there for Bbyong, but even with those mules, he's still not really keeping up with Flash, who does have a 5-worker lead there. So everything coming up Flash again for the time being, but certainly Bbyong not out of it as of yet. There's not much damage has been done to either side yet.
That's very true, and in fact, if you look at the 2 build orders, Flash and Bbyong are both going to be going for mech, but Bbyong got double factory a bit quicker, and is getting Blue Flame. Yeah. And early on in mech versus mech, a lot of times it's just mostly Hellions, so when you're actually producing more Hellions, and you're going to have Blue Flame, this actually leans a little bit towards Bbyong. If they have an engagement after that Blue Flame is done, he should be able to take it handily.
Yeah, he should, and he needs to make that happen, of course. And one decisive engagement in this could be the difference between a victory and a loss. He knows that. He knows you can really make it happen there. And that blue flame is about to be done, and Bbyong is starting to move out on the map here. His Hellion count is slightly behind Flash's, but the blue flame makes the difference there in a really big way, and more reinforcements are starting to pour across the map here.
Yeah, he's getting ready to put the pressure on. He even has these Banshees in here, the Vikings as well. All these really can alter the battle also. Flash, of course, he has a better Viking count and a Raven, so he'll hold off the Banshees, but here we go indeed.
Here we go. How well can he line up right here? Not that well. Flash is maneuvering around to make sure that that can't actually happen. Bbyong also losing the air battle here, but he has a small number of blue flame Hellions that managed to push back. Flash fires back once again. Bbyong not keeping as many Hellions alive, I imagine, as he wanted to here, and he wants to do damage. He's now got his Banshees in. He's now managing to make something happen. The blue flame Hellions start to line up to decimate the mineral line.
Oh, a lot of SCVs starting to go down. He does have to end up landing his Vikings here. How many SCVs will he end up losing? Looks like 12, 13 so far.
And more could happen. Oh, Flash, though. He meets up with landed Vikings and a couple of Hellions just to finish things off. 14 workers killed there. That puts Bbyong solidly in the economic lead, and he's now building another command center here.
And in fact, he killed the SCV, making Flash's command center. So
that's nice.
His third is actually going to be timed out pretty evenly with Flash's. So Bbyong has really done kind of what he needed to do to get even there. And in fact, slightly ahead on SCVs even.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what Bbyong needed. Hopefully that's a big boost to his spirits going forward. Not that he's looked rattled at any point during this series, but the last map was more one-sided than Bbyong has shown up to this point, you know? He's been going toe-to-toe with Flash in these big crazy games, and then he just gets whacked in a situation where really he should have done damage in the first place. And now he's managed to find that damage, this time on the ground in combination with the Banshees, rather than just picking at Flash, which just doesn't seem to work ever.
Well, he's going to continue to try to pick at Flash, I think. You know, Bbyong, he is a guy that loves to harass, but at the same time, Flash, his defense has been so good this game overall, and you can even see that reflected in Vikings patrolling near his main base down in the south. He's got a group of landed Vikings on top of the ramp. His third base looks pretty well defended so far. He's even got his barracks out flying, waiting to see if any units try to come up. So he's really trying to make sure he doesn't lose any more SCVs here, and he can really get his macro going.
Third base is going to get scouted here as Flash moves in to check that out. There may be... Does he have any real harass potential? I mean, he's got a lot of Hellions, but unfortunately, he also knows that his opponent probably has more. Flash's blue flame is about to finish here as well. So, any kind of harass that Flash can put in there is going to be limited. Bbyong already realizes that that could happen. He's going to bring most of his Hellion force over to defend that.
Well, you know, this is... I feel like this game, TotalBiscuit, might even go longer than the game on Waystation, because I'm trying to figure out mech versus mech. If you look at the way this map is shaped, you can probably take 4 or 5 bases while having tanks on high ground as your defense, which is, like, pretty darn hard to break. So I think this is going to go, like, super long, as neither player can kill each other.
Yeah, and neither player willing to commit there. It's like 2 evenly matched forces of Blue Flame Hellions, but Bbyong's Viking count is kind of wild, and I thought that Flash's was actually lower, but it's not. They're all on the ground, interestingly enough, which is kind of a cool idea. Why fight in the air when you know your opponent's got an equal number of Vikings? Why not just put your Vikings on the ground to tank Hellion shots instead? Yeah,
totally. Like, he doesn't want to pay attention to that. Forget it. He wins ground battles right now with all those Vikings on the ground. So... I mean, it's a smart move by Flash to do, but that does give complete air superiority to Bbyong. In fact, picking off some Vikings here.
Yeah, that is the coolest thing he can do now. Because he's playing against mech, there's no Thors out, is he just camps production with this, and Flash isn't even building anything else out the starport now. But Bbyong lands at the top of the ramp, and the run-by begins as he takes out a missile turret. He takes an SCV. Oh, man, he could have had that tank there as well. I think he got out there maybe a little quicker than he needed to.
A little bit quicker. I think he could have definitely killed that tank off. But you know what? Any damage he can get done right now is great, because there's no way to really punish these until that first Thor pops out for Flash.
Yeah, there isn't. And it's about to pop out. So that's going to be a nasty little surprise here for Bbyong. A volley goes off, hits maybe the worst spot it could possibly, but it's enough to scare Bbyong away for the moment.
Yeah, you don't really want to mess around against a Thor with Vikings, man. That's like one of the most one-sided battles in all of StarCraft 2. But it looks like it's time for these guys to start adding command centers. They both assess the situation and realize, okay, no way to kill anyone right now. May as well work on economy.
Yeah, certainly. It is that stalemate situation. They're both kind of getting to maxed out positions here, too. Flash's upgrades are at 2-0. He's gone for no armor upgrades yet. Bbyong actually very behind in upgrades. He hasn't even got one yet.
Yeah, that's quite slow on the upgrades, but when you think back to the opening builds, I guess it makes a little bit of sense because Bbyong was focusing so heavily on harassment and later on the economy. So yeah. Flash has a little edge, and he does have a bit of map control. But can he actually do something with this giant attack? Bbyong still has a lot of units.
It's an unwieldy force, isn't it? It's a lot of Hellbats there, but it is a lot of firepower too. The Viking lead is just in favor of Bbyong, but not by much. I mean, if Flash got the first volley off, he probably wins that fight anyway. Bbyong's setting up a big Hellbat drop, but these are going to be siege tanks actually at the back here, and both scan each other to see where they're going, both maneuvering for position. Flash trying to collapse the third base, and Bbyong, is he just going to go for the base? No, he's going to try and flank around it, but he's trying to find an angle, and those are good shots here for Flash. He boosts forward. The Hellbats are at the back to deal with the other Hellbats, and it's just a mess of flame at the moment, and Bbyong is going to siege up, fire a huge volley, but there are Hellbats already moving into Bbyong's siege line, and Flash breaks it.
Well, Flash just doing absolutely fantastically there. Bbyong actually out of position, letting Flash siege up and get this awesome spot, almost even killing that third command center. And during all this, Flash has been mining from his fourth base. He's up by 50 supply. It looks like Flash is just going to take this series down.
I think he very well might. It seems like Bbyong has, in fact, been rattled, and Flash's experience and just masterful decision-making is really making it happen here. There's the drop, but these tanks are already on siege. Nice little hot pickup there. Bbyong coming with a Thor. It's like, oh, you want to fight that? All right, let's bring it in here. But the third is gone. Flash has sieged that up. He has destroyed most of the production. 37 workers here to 70. Is anyone doubting Flash's TVT now?
No, I mean, he might have the best TVT in the world right now, to be perfectly frank with you here, TotalBiscuit. This is insane how well he's played this series. And, you know, just losing that one game that was so close and absolutely could have gone either way, like, Flash is looking just like a complete rock in this matchup. Yeah.
I think we now know why there has been no best of 7 with Flash in TVT. That's because nobody dared to fight him in it.
No, this is... You better not even show up, to be honest. You know, Flash is just so godly. Look what he's doing behind this too. He's like adding command centers, getting +3 attack, keeping his macro up. His minerals are at like less than 100 most of the time.
Jeez.
It's madness.
Flash hype is real, man. This is not unjustified. This is not simply a man who is sitting on his past laurels and is happy with that. He is, if his play today is anything to go by, and of course in day one, he is very hungry at the moment. He really wants it bad, and he is making it happen. He even comes in to pick off the Medivacs, knowing his opponent doesn't have the anti-air to stop him.
Well, you know, eventually you got to show the haters you're the best, man. Just because he hasn't won a GSL yet doesn't mean he can't. You know, it's a matter of time now in this game before Bbyong is going to have to GG, I think.
Yeah.
No matter how scrappy he plays, just looking at his forces, you can tell he's in just a world of pain. There's no way to hold on.
Yeah, and it looks like Bbyong is unsieging. That's it, GG. Flash takes the series 4-1. Best TVT in at least a year, no doubt about that. He advances to the grand finals. It happened, folks. This is real life.
That's right. Like 4-1, it sounds really one-sided, and I got to tell you, a couple of those games there at the end did look very Flash-dominated, but Bbyong played beautifully, showing he is extremely good at Terran versus Terran as well, but Flash, just indomitable. What a force. He could definitely win this tournament.
He could, and he has now beaten a god in all 3 matchups. we could call him the one true god, I think, because he slew all the others. He killed Life, He killed CJ Hero. He killed CJ Bbyong. I mean, those are considered to be some of the best players of their race in the world. All three respective races. And he beat them all convincingly.
Yeah. But he's Flash. You got to remember, he's actually Flash. He's actually the greatest player of all time at the hardest esport that there ever was, Starcraft 1. So, I mean, he's really starting to come back into his own. And as we see Flash, like, really max out his skill and become, you know, what he was, people are going to, you know, I think no one really quite believes how good he was at Starcraft 1 that didn't get to actually see it firsthand. But you're starting to see what we used to watch all the time.
It's happening. It really, really is. And that's the best. And I am very, very happy indeed to see that those who perhaps doubted Flash's ability to play in this format are now being very, very silent. Rightfully so. But he has one more challenge yet to face. The winner of Zest and Hero. And I have to wonder who he would want to face. His teammate, who has... Let's break the stat out now. Never, ever lost a best of 5 or best of 7 in competitive play in his StarCraft 2 career. And, of course, the double GSL champion. Or CJ Hero, the back-to-back IEM champion, who is a machine and has, of course, beaten Flash before in Pro League.
Who has 19 wins in Pro League right now. I mean, oh my god. This is a good one. This is going to be probably the best PvP series that we have seen yet. PvP continues to evolve. Both these guys on the forefront of that. And I'm going to be sitting here. You might be hearing me jotting down notes during my commentary because these guys really know what they're doing in this matchup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. It will be a PvP to remember. Hopefully, if it's even a third as good as what we just saw, I will be totally happy with that. You know, PvP's not my favorite matchup, but I certainly prefer it to ZVZ at the moment. And we are watching two masters at work here. So maybe this will change your opinion on PvP, folks. Maybe it will.
It's actually a beautiful matchup. I like it. It's one of my favorite matchups in the whole game. It's very deep. It's a very intelligent matchup. So I'll be doing my best to get some converts today for Zest vs. Hero.
Yeah, we might get it. We might. I really certainly hope that we do not get a disappointing series after what we just saw. I've not seen a series this year that has excited me as much as that one did. Even if it did just go to 5 games, what a series of 5 games they were, and how close it was, even though the scoreline doesn't show that. Yeah. But this is our last best of 7 of the match, folks. This will determine who goes on to face Flash in another best of 7 in the grand finals, and who will fall to face CJ Bbyong, who is certainly not someone I'd like to tangle with in the bronze match. Not at all. That's all going to be happening on day 4, the final day here of the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. We're going to take a break while we do vetoes and set everything up for Zest versus CJ Hero. You're watching the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. My name is TotalBiscuit.
And I'm Artosis.
We'll be back after the break. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro.